It is the fourth meeting overall, the third in Mobile, the second time Coastal Carolina visits Hancock-Whitney Stadium. The 1-2 Chanticleers meet the 1-2 South Alabama Jaguars. You're watching Sunbelt Conference football on ESPN. Good Saturday night, everybody. Glad it is conference play. Pat Greenwood alongside Brian Gennard, and we talk about two teams with identical records here. Both teams 1-2, but the momentum is not the same at all. Coastal Carolina has struggled big time. South Alabama with 2 straight losses, but they've looked pretty good against some pretty good opponents.
Yeah, they've looked really good against a couple of good opponents, but the good news for both of them, it's almost like a new season since it's Sunbelt Conference time.
Well, let's take a look at our impact players, and let's start with the leader of Coastal Carolina. He's in the middle of that defense. We're talking about the team leader, Shane Bruce.
Yeah, Coach Beck says Shane Bruce is the leader on and off the field. You can see right there he's got 18 tackles so far this year, 1 for loss, also 2 interceptions. This young man has the mindset, he said last week after that loss to East Carolina that, hey, so what, now what? Because it's Sunbelt play, and that's what he's interested in.
Meantime, Devin Boyson, the longtime Jaguar, quickly emerging as the go-to guy for South Alabama, leading a very young receiving corps.
Yeah, Devin Boyson, the team veteran. You can see his numbers right there, 19 catches, 266 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's tied for the most in the nation. He's averaging almost 14 yards a carry or a catch, and has a long one of 65 yards this year. Devin Boyson is a true leader for South Alabama.
And when you take a look at the stats of how these two teams compare, it is not that far off the difference points per game. It's Coastal Carolina. They've been able to move the football, but they've either had penalties or turnovers, and that's just one thing that Coach Tim Beck has really just been overly frustrated with, is they have not been able to cash in on opportunities.
Yeah, 4 turnovers last week. They were really costly against East Carolina. Like you said, they seem to drive the ball, get down to the red zone. A couple interceptions, a couple of fumbles just kind of bit them as they entered the red zone last week.
And it's one of those things that if Coastal Carolina starts taking advantage of their opportunities, I think they can hang with anybody. But if you get in that same pattern tonight, this one could get away from them relatively quickly. Well, South Alabama won the toss. They elected to defer, so the Jags kicking off right to left, and that'll go over Malcolm Gilley into the end zone, and it'll be Coastal Carolina that has the football at the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 as we are ready to get conference play underway. And there's a look at Tad Hudson, 22 of 45 on the year, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And in fact, Coastal Carolina as a whole, no passing touchdowns. They've only scored 2 touchdowns, period, both on the ground.
Yeah, and that's something that Coach Beck said, that they're really kind of going back to the drawing board. They're looking for some opportunities for some key guys tonight to get involved in this offense and really kind of get it going. Since we're in Sunbelt Conference play, it's like a new season to them as we start this game tonight.
And they will do a little pitch pass to Robbie Washington coming right side, and he is stacked up and pushed back. South Alabama was prepared. They strung it out nicely, and Washington had nowhere to go. There's Javon Henderson, the guy that led the charge.
Just a great push by that front of South Alabama. Kind of got disrupted when he had to just keep trailing out and just stringing that play out before everybody got there. Just a nice job of pursuit by the Jaguars.
So a loss of 3, it'll bring up a 2nd down and 13. The last thing you want to do if you're Coastal trying to get some momentum is to start going backwards. We'll see if Hudson can pull him out. There's a lot of good rush. He goes down right side. The pass is complete. My goodness, what a route, as Malcolm Gilley working one-on-one with the defensive back Nehemiah Chandler. And Hudson unloaded, was able to get it to him in time.
You can't ask anything else from Chandler except to knock this one down. He had perfect coverage, had his back turned, and turned at the last minute, tried to rip it out, but just unable to do so.
First rush goes right up the middle. There's Javen Simpkins. He'll get across the 48, we'll call it the 46. Bring up a 2nd down and 6 as the Chanticleers are in South Alabama territory. Dominic Nicely, who was injured after just 2 carries last week against East Carolina, we understand that he is going to be available today. You got Javon Edwards in the backfield, and Dominic Nicely also in the backfield as well. So good to see him back in the rotation. Hudson almost picked off as he throws it behind the intended receiver. I think that was Blaine Myrick in coverage, and Myrick is a good story for South Alabama, the preseason Sunbelt Conference Defensive Player of the Year. He went into concussion protocol against Tulane, was unable to play last week against Auburn. We weren't sure exactly if he could get back into the rotation today. He is a difference maker for the
really
Jags.
is, and I'm not sure if he didn't get a hand on that ball, Pat, as he kind of dropped out in the flats and showed his ups right there as he got up to try to knock that one down.
So
but
third
great to
down.
see him back on the field.
Yep, 3rd down and 6. Got to get to the 40 to extend this drive, but may already be in 4-down territory. We're in that no man's land in South Alabama territory. There's Hudson, good protection across the middle, incomplete. Trying to get it to his receiver, dragging across behind the defense, but it was knocked away. Robbie Washington, the intended receiver. And it is no-go territory for Coastal Carolina. Looks like they will go ahead and punt it away.
Yeah, South bringing the pressure right there, and kind of wonder if somebody may have run the wrong route, because you had 2 guys that were almost running just parallel slant routes right there. So it had a lot of traffic in that area, and the pass just drops to the ground.
Emil Sebafunde hangs it up to Devin Boyson, makes the fair catch right at about the 10-yard line, and that's where the South Alabama offense will come out as Bishop Davenport, the guy that has been the starter this year. Gio Lopez was the starter for the Jags through spring, and then he transfers to North Carolina. Davenport got some action last year, actually played in the bowl game. And how about that? 73.4% of his passes complete. Coming into today, 9th in the country.
And it's not like he's not throwing the ball either. I mean, that's the thing. He's had some great games, and you know, when you've had receivers like Boyson step up and have the performances he has, it's really helped Davenport out and get comfortable back there in that backfield.
He's very dangerous on the RPO as well. This time he does give it to Kentrell Bullock, who has been the workhorse for South Alabama. He'll get a hard 2 yards as Bullock last week against Auburn, 16 carries, 57 yards, 291 yards on the season. He's gotten into the end zone 3 times.
I really thought that offensive line played really well against Auburn last week as well, and they've continued all year long as the kind of the strength of this offense. But as soon as I give them some praise, we're gonna have a false start.
That's the old announcer's jinx right there.
False start.
That's
Offense.
the other thing. I mean, if you start looking,
5-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
Start looking at South Alabama. I mean, only averaging a little over 20 yards a game in penalties, which that's unheard of, especially where they were. I think it was somewhere around 75, 80 last year. So really have done a good job of cleaning things up, but that one comes at an unfortunate time when you're back against your own end zone.
Now a little action as Bishop Davenport throws it, got a completion, and almost got the 1st down. That was a nice job to unload to the tight end. That's Rod Gibbs. Gibbs didn't have a catch. In fact, hadn't had a catch this year. That's his 1st catch, according to my records, this season. And it brings it from a 2nd and 13 to a 1st and 10.
It's just a great job of getting out into the flats, and Davenport able to get him the ball, and him just using his athleticism to tiptoe down the sideline.
Back to the ground game. There's Bullock. Good blocking along the left side. He breaks a couple of tackles. Gets across the 25 to the 27-yard line.
I say this every time that we see Bullock run. I almost feel sorry for the folks that have to come up and try to tackle him, because he delivers as much punishment as he takes.
And they'll give it to Bullock again, and again he's got some room. 1st down and more. Bullock across the 35 to the 38. And you saw that graphic, the first drive success for South Alabama. 3 games, 3 scores. They scored on the first drive against Morgan State to open the season, a touchdown. Got a touchdown against Tulane as well. In fact, jumped out 14-0 on Tulane. And then last week on the Plains at Auburn, it was a field goal that put the Jags on the board as they trailed 7-3 in that ball game. Now, first carry we see from P.J. Martin, the New Orleans native. He'll get stacked up at about the 40-yard line for a gain of 2. Bring up a 2nd down and 8.
It's a great thing with P.J. Martin, as you see Bullock kind of take himself out, take a breather, and then P.J. Martin come in, and you don't lose a whole lot. I mean, they're different runners where Bullock's more of that kind of bull in a china shop run over you, but it's got the speed. P.J. Martin, just you don't lose anything when he comes in as well. He's had a great first 3 games of the season.
Might see some Keenan Phillips later in this ball game as well, as there's Boyson spotting up. There's a strike from Bishop Davenport. Punched out of bounds by Jamarian Wayne, short of the 1st down. That'll bring up a 3rd and about 2 at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, not bad coverage by Wayne. Wayne just gives him a little bit of a cushion, but great route right there and a great job by Davenport. Davenport has that ball out over the shoulder of Voisin as he comes out of his break, and enough to give him third and manageable here for South Alabama.
Got to get just beyond the 48-yard line. Bishop Davenport will do so. He'll take it himself and should get the first down up to the 49-yard line. That's one of the things that makes Bishop so very, very difficult to defend. Here's a guy that threw for 567 so far this year, but he's also run the ball many, many times, and you just got to be prepared because he doesn't mind taking it himself.
Yeah, and that was a great play call. Well, he fakes it off to Bullock and then follows him right up into the hole, and Bullock gives him a nice block as well. He'll do it all for you.
Now Davenport rolling to his left. He fires a strike again. Brendan Jenkins, guy that comes down with the catch there. Second completion for Bishop Davenport on this drive.
This is a great job by Davenport. He's rolling out to his left. He goes through all his progressions right here, and he's got one guy that's just curled up in the flats, and that's his outlet right there. And when nothing's available, he does it, gets a positive yards, picks up about 6 yards on first down.
We'll call it 2nd down and 3 at the Coastal Carolina 44-yard line. A lot of men in motion for the Jags, and it'll be Bishop Davenport once again. Now flushed out of the pocket, throws right side. It's complete to Jeremiah Jones-Thomas, but it's one of those ones that maybe if you're JJT, you want to drop that one because that's going to be a loss of a couple.
Yeah, for Davenport, your percentage stays at 70-something%. You would have taken a drop in percentage there for maybe just a tick off the old mark. That's one of those ones that as a young receiver, you're like, you just let that one fly by you.
But that was just great pressure from the backside. Jaden Bryant was the guy applying the pressure. Jags have to get to the 41-yard line. And another strike and a first down. Bishop Davenport, once again, Devin Voisin, the guy that makes the catch. And the Jags have moved the sticks once again.
That's just a great relationship right there between a quarterback and his receiver. Davenport knows exactly where he's going, and as Voisin comes out of his break, he has the ball right over his shoulder again. Just a perfect strike. Great coverage as well, but even a better throw by Davenport.
Miles Mouyong was there, but yeah, threw it into a tight window as P.J. Martin will get the ball down close to the 30-yard line on 1st and 10. P.J. Martin, last week, 11 carries for 30 yards, 22 for 88 on the year. He does have a touchdown, averaging just over 4 yards per carry coming into this one. We'll call it 2nd and 6. They'll go back to P.J. And how about the bounce out? P.J. Martin, one man to beat, can't do it. That is a great stop by Jamarian Wayne. If Wayne doesn't make that stop, P.J. Martin's next stop is the end zone.
Yeah, it looked like for a second he was off to the races, and it was a great cut, like you said. He bounced that thing out to the left-hand side. And from our vantage point, it looked like he was off to the races and he was gone, and all of a sudden, here comes Wayne up to make that's just a great open field tackle. And does a good job of holding on. You see a lot of guys just want to knock you off your feet, but Wayne does a good job of wrapping up as well.
3rd down and 3, Davenport to throw. Has the wheel route and overthrows the intended Devin Voisin. He was stride for stride. Miles Mouyong was there, and that'll bring up a 4th down and 3 at the 29-yard line. Be about a 46-yard attempt should the Jags try it. Let's see if they're going to send the field goal unit on or if they're going to keep it. Looks like the Jags will go for it. South Alabama already 6 for 10 on 4th down conversions this year.
The reason it's 4th down is because Mouyong does a really nice job of getting back in coverage. Looked like for a second that route was going to be open.
Anthony Eager in motion to the far side. They'll roll his way, and that is incomplete. Didn't look like the intended receiver, Eager, knew the ball was coming at that particular point. Thrown behind him anyway, and Coastal Carolina with a big stand as South Alabama turned away on 4th down. So each team has nothing to show for it. We'll come back to Mobile after this. 6:47 left in the first. No score. And back to Mobile, no score between Coastal Carolina and South Alabama. There's a look at Tim Beck, the head coach for the Chanticleers in his 3rd season at Coastal Carolina. He's been at some big places, Nebraska, Ohio State, Texas, and NC State. one game over 500 so far. And of course, not happy with his team's 1-2 start so far. He said it's more frustrating than anything else because he knows how good they can be. And there's Major Applewhite on the South Alabama sideline. 3 seasons under Kane Womack as the offensive coordinator before taking the head coaching job. Second season here in Mobile, 8-8 overall record. One of the things he stressed to his team this week is you're getting a lot of pats on the back for how you played against Tulane and how you played against Auburn. At the end of the day, you lost both games. So let's not get all hyped up about what you did in a loss. What are we going to do to be more than a 6-6 team every year? A little quick swing pass to the right side, and that is Bryson Graves leveled right at about the line of scrimmage.
Ty Goodwill comes up from that rover position to make the open field tackle. Yeah, but I'm with you, Pat. I'm not one of those big ones that loves moral victories, and you know, but listen, they played really well. I mean, a heartbreaker against when they came back against Tulane and missed that 2-point conversion, and I was really impressed with their poise last week in Auburn. As you know, they hung in when they proved they can hang in with anybody in the country right there. But at the end of the day, it's still 2 losses in the column, but it does have to give you some confidence in some of the things that you were doing.
So 3rd down and 5 is Coastal Carolina. 0 for 1 on 3rd down so far today. The Jags moved 64 yards but came up with nothing. It's 29 yards for Coastal Carolina on their first drive. They've got to get to right at about the 40-yard line to move the sticks. It'll be Hudson to throw across the middle. Fires a strike. Bryson Graves, his second reception of this drive, moves the chains for Coastal Carolina. 1st down. Coastal.
Graves does a nice job of getting right in there between the strong safety and the Blaine Myrick playing linebacker position. He just curls up right there in that little spot. And Hudson finds him as he comes up in that curl, picks up a 1st down for Coastal Carolina.
Javon Edwards is the setback. There's a lot of pressure as Hudson rolls away from it, and he'll take it himself across the 50, and he'll bang his way down to the 48-yard line. That's a nice gain of 7 as the pressure was coming from the inside and Hudson able to take it outside.
And Hudson not afraid to duck his shoulder a little bit as Dozier comes up to make the tackle. Hudson just dives right into it.
That one incomplete, going for Graves a 3rd time on this drive. Had to rush that one a little quicker than he wanted to, and I don't think Graves had fully turned around expecting the football. So it's an incomplete pass, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 3.
Blaine Myrick out there on coverage as well. May have disrupted that one just a little bit.
Simpkins set just to the left of Hudson as you see a good look at Blaine Myrick in the middle. Jack's trying to turn him away as Eli Aragon in motion. And it'll be another 1st down for Coastal. Good run by Javen Simpkins. Limited to 3 games last year due to injury, but a highly recruited kid out of high school in the Miami area.
And they ran right into the blitz, and if you can make that first guy miss that's in on the blitz, then you got some yards in front of you. And that time they were able to pick up the 1st down as he was able to make the first man miss. I think it was Goodwill that came in on the blitz.
We mentioned that Coastal Carolina only has 2 touchdowns this year. Simpkins has 1 of them. Now a little reverse flea flicker trying to go left side. They have some room at about the 41-yard line. So a lot of movement for about 4 yards, but at the end of the day, you got about 4 yards.
Yeah, there were a lot of moving parts for 4 yards.
I was looking for the guy downfield. Typically,
I'm with you. There was somebody here on the south sideline that was, you see down at the bottom of your screen, I thought that's maybe their intended first target, but you see them set up the screen to the left-hand side. But South does a really nice job of staying home and only giving up 4.
Hudson again across the middle, airmails it. Good coverage there by Nehemiah Chandler. It's an incomplete pass, so they'll bring up a 3rd down.
Chandler with great coverage right there and does exactly what you tell your DBs to do. You wrap with that backhand and throw that front hand up and try to knock that ball away. But Hudson actually kind of threw that one a little high and outside. unable to come up with the ball as his receiver.
He's now 5 of 9 passing. Back to throw again. Pressure from the backside. Scrambles away. Hit as he throws. And the pass is incomplete. Once again, great pressure by the South Alabama defensive line. That was Dominic Wiseman, the guy applying the pressure, and Coastal Carolina will be forced to punt it away again.
Yeah, you see the pressure come right from the outside. He has to step up, and once he steps up, he steps right up into the face of Wiseman. And nice job with the outside pressure that really kind of lets your defensive tackle then step up and make the knockdown.
Seba Funday to punt it away again at his own 45-yard line. Voisin fielded the last one at the 10. He'll let this one go, and it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So when we get back, South Alabama will have the football at the 25-yard line. No score between the Jags and the Chanticleers. Defensive coordinator Jeremiah Johnson in that defensive huddle for Coastal Carolina. The defense has played actually okay for Coastal Carolina. The offense has been struggling a bit. In fact, last week, no points scored for that Coastal offense. First time being shut out since joining the FBS in 2016. And against East Carolina, the final score was 38-0, but it was a 10-0 ball game at halftime. And you could tell the defense just kind of ran out of gas by the time it was all said and done.
Yeah, between the turnovers as well. I mean, that was, the kind of the factor in that game that really just kept hurting them and sometimes giving them a short field to work with as well. And when you look at leaders like Bruce on the field, it's one of the things that just kind of frustrated him all night long, as well as you could hear in the post-game press conference.
Keenan Phillips, the third running back we've seen for South Alabama, ducks his head, spins his way to the 28-yard line. Phillips, 8 carries for 26 yards last week. He's got 58 on the year, just shy of 4 yards a carry. Phillips, just a sophomore out of Bainbridge, Georgia. Talk about a pretty good running back room with P.J. Martin, Kentrell Bullock, Keenan Phillips. Got Chris Holyfield also in that running back room. Is Phillips just shy of the first down. Needed to get to the 30. He'll get it to the 29.5. Bring up a third down and about 1.
And South loves to pull those offensive linemen and lead you up into the hole. That first carry, Davis does a nice job of kind of clearing space out for his running back.
They'll hand it off again. This time squirts past the 30-yard line. Didn't get much, but got just enough. Did Keenan Phillips. First down, South Alabama. And the Jags move the sticks for the 5th time today. Good first drive that was turned away on a 4th down at about the 30-yard line. But that offensive line of Hubbard, Hale, Preciado, Wiggins, Davis, coaches say that's the best offensive line that South Alabama has had in a long, long time. Phillips again gets the carry. He'll get about 5 there, up to the 35. And
hit the back right there.
The offensive line, that's one of those positions that gets no credit whatsoever. But when you have a good offensive line, I don't care what you have behind you, you can do some damage offensively.
Yeah, it's been nice to see. I mean, even if you look at that percentage that Davenport has, a lot of that is because he's had time to throw the ball. He can kind of survey the field, go through his progressions, and all that is because of that offensive line.
2nd and 5, there's Kentrell Bullock, and he has stood up in the backfield. Nice job with the blitz. Coming from the left side, Dante Lunan, the guy that met Kentrell as he was trying to go right side. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 5.
And that shows you the speed of Lunan right there, as he's able to loop all the way around and come back from the backside and make that tackle.
On the season, the Jags are 36% on 3rd down. They are 3 of 4 today. They have to get to the 40-yard line as we're under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Bishop, time, right side, makes the completion, but short of the sticks. Now, a lot of whistles. And there are flags back at about the 24-yard line. There's going to be a penalty, I believe, on South Alabama.
Yeah, you got a holding call right around the 26-yard line. I think they'll decline this on force a 4th down.
Replay.
I guess not.
They'll go ahead and take it as the hold is on Ethan Hubbard. And so that'll make it about a 3rd and 15. As a second penalty assessed on the offensive line. Hubbard on the right side. He's your right tackle. Top of your screen. Looks like you just got the arms too wide. So now the Jags have to get to the 40-yard line on 3rd and long. Pressure once again dumped off across the 30 to the 35. It'll be about 4 yards shy as Kentrell Bullock makes the reception, but it'll be a 4th down for South Alabama as the Coastal defense holds again.
And there's another flag on the field. I don't see it, but they've got to be because the way they're having discussion must be on South because they're over there talking too.
Illegal formation.
Yep.
Offense. More than 4 in the backfield. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Jeremy Parker is your head referee today, so that one is declined. And so the punting unit will come on for the first time for South Alabama. We'll see Alexi Polkinen to boot it away as Coastal Carolina's defense has held firm. Bryson Graves is the returner. He'll camp back at his own 20-yard line. Polkinen averaging about 38.3 yards a kick, but that's in part because he had one against Tulane a couple of weeks ago that he shanked off his foot for about 4 yards. Otherwise, he booms them like this. Long of 55. That one backs up Graves to about the 11-yard line. And that is where Coastal Carolina will take over. So
there's another flag right there at the 39.
Yep.
Pat.
We'll hold and see what the flag's going to be. Right now, it's Coastal Carolina football.
Kick. Holding. Receiving team. 10 yards. Spin the kick. Be 1st down.
So they'll back Coastal Carolina up just a bit when we get back. No score between the Chanticleers and the Jags. Back to Mobile after this on ESPN+. Tower on the South Alabama campus. That's the largest tower in the state, by the way. That spire on top makes it a little bigger than the capstone in Tuscaloosa. There's a beautiful South Alabama campus as we're back in Hancock Whitney Stadium. No score between the Jags and the Chanticleers. Coastal has punted twice. South Alabama punted once, and they turned it over on downs on their first drive. As you see, Ty Goodwill looking at Tad Hudson and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers running the last play of the first quarter, twisting and turning his way up to the 11-yard line. That's a good run by Dominic Nicely, and that will take us to the end of the quarter. So no score for Coach Beck. He'll see if his offense can get going as we start the second quarter in Mobile. Back after this on ESPN+. Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile. No score between the Chanticleers and the Jaguars as we are ready to start quarter number 2. The Shots backed up at their own 11. Points by quarter coming into today. Pretty much what they were coming into today. It's the same as it is now. South Alabama, 24 points in the first quarter. None for Coastal Carolina. But look in the first half. The Chanticleers have only scored 3 points this season, the entire first half. In fact, if you look at their scoring offense, they're averaging 6.7 points a game. That is dead last in FBS. Not a stat that Coach Beck was very happy with. And again, part of that is penalties have been a problem and turnovers. They haven't turned over the football so far as we'll swing pass to the left side and a late flag as Dominic Nicely gets across the 10 to about the 11-yard line.
Yeah, you're going to need either a hold or a block in the back right here on Coastal Carolina, I believe, right around the 8-yard line.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 20. Half the distance to the goal. Replay 2nd down.
So they're going to get Javon Edwards on the penalty. If I'm not mistaken, that's the first penalty of the day for Coastal Carolina. The Jags have 2. But that'll back it up to about the 6-yard line, make it 2nd down and 11.
It's actually the second. That they had that one on the punt that
good
gave
call.
them half the distance, the block in the back.
We saw Edwards getting into the back of the defender, so 2nd down and long. Jags showing blitz up the middle. Ball is tipped up in the air, and it is caught. And my goodness, caught and then pushed back into the end zone. Ty Goodwill laid the lumber as Bryson Graves, the guy that came down with a tipped ball. He may say, you know, in the future, I don't want to do that anymore.
That's one of the things. Once that ball's tipped, there's not pass interference, and
right.
Ty Goodwood knows it. Comes up, knows he's not getting to the ball, but he wanted to make sure whoever caught it didn't go anywhere, and he would have loved to get himself a safety out of that.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's forward
progress, and so you don't get it. But
so they'll go to the ground game, and they'll get up to about the 14-yard line, but well shy of the first down, as Javen Simpkins gets a couple of yards rushing, but now Coastal will have to punt it away for the third time, and this time South Alabama should get pretty good field position. The last time Devin Boyson has fielded punts, it's been inside his own 20. Right now he's set up at his own 40.
we'll see. We saw it when warm-ups. I mean, they've so far just straight kicked. We've seen some rollouts and warm-ups, and see if they go to that or just straight formation, straight kick.
Boyson will have a chance to return this one. Catches it at the 40. He's got a hole. Devin Boyson across the 40 to the 39-yard line. He almost had a punt return for a touchdown in an earlier game that was called back. This time he'll get South Alabama in great field position. They'll start in Coastal Carolina territory after this. No score, but the Jags with good field position back to Mobile on ESPN+. Pat Greenwood, Brian Gennard, and our ESPN crew back in Mobile, Alabama on the campus of South Alabama. The Jags, best starting field position by far today. Coming into today, 28 points a game. Yards per game, very good. How about the completion percentage and the pass efficiency leading the Sun Belt Conference? Right now, it's been a pretty average attack. 44 passing yards for the Jags, 45 yards on the ground, but they've been unable to cash in. They had to punt once, turned it over on downs as well, but this time only a 40-yard field to try and crack the scoreboard here. No score in the conference opener between the Jags and the Chanticleers. Well, we've seen Coastal with as many as 5 down a lot so far. Now just 3 down as they'll do the quick pitch right side. They come up in the hole and meet Keenan Phillips for a short gain. That's good pursuit defensively by Coastal.
Yeah, really nice job there from that linebacking core as they do a good job of just coming down the line, not necessarily getting that far into the backfield, but a really nice job of pursuit down the line and using that sideline to their advantage as well.
Gideon, Bruce, those are your guys that really anchor down that linebacking core. Now this time Bishop under pressure. Devin Boyson makes the catch, makes a move, but can't make 2 or 3 moves. As again, a modest gain. We see Wyatt Gideon out there again as Devin Boyson doesn't get much. That'll bring up a 3rd down and about 5.
Yeah, you'll see him right here. Just put the brakes on, let the first guy go by, and then I think it's Robinson that comes up and says, no, not going to fall for it. Not actually, it wasn't Robinson. It was Wayne that comes up and makes the tackle there for Coastal.
Jaden Bryant was the guy that got into the backfield and forced a quick throw by Bishop Davenport. So 3rd down at 5. Jags have to get to the 30. Davenport right side. Incomplete as he threw it just short, trying to get it to Brendan Jenkins. Jenkins was open, but that was a long throw. And Jenkins unable to come up with it. Good coverage by Muyong, and now South Alabama will punt it away.
It's a great name, Muyong. You want us to be kind of, I think about it saying booyah when you say Muyong, but you know, when he makes a big hit, this would be a fun name to kind of stick in there. But yeah, that one just, as you said, a long throw all the way across the field, trying to hit the receiver as he comes out of his break, but that ball about a yard short.
Pulkkinen inside his own territory, and that'll go well into the end zone. So a touchback will give Coastal Carolina the football at the 20-yard line. Time for a commercial break. We'll see if either of the offenses can get on track. No score right now between South Alabama and Coastal. Alabama was in mid territory for Coastal Carolina. Last time on the first drive they went for it. This time they decided to punt. I think they're counting on Coastal Carolina's offense continuing to have issues. Last week against East Carolina, only 239 total yards. Here are the numbers to begin this ball game. That's last in the conference. Points per game. Completion percentage is 53.4. Yardage under 300 a game. Right now, Hudson 6 of 11 passing, as you get a good look at Javon Edwards in the backfield. And South Alabama will take their chances defensively, trying to push Coastal Carolina back. That defense has kept them in the ball game so far today, as South Alabama's offense hasn't been able to do much either. There's Hudson flushed out of the pocket. He's going to go deep. He's got some accuracy. He's got a receiver, and it is incomplete. That was Ty Goodwill in coverage, and he knocked it loose. Well, that was a strike to Malcolm Gilley. But that was great coverage on the backside by South Alabama.
Yeah, Dillard Jr. back there as well, but the receiver gets behind. Hudson's able to step up and step into this one. He does come up just a little bit short. And actually it was Dillard Jr.
It was Dillard, yeah, Brian Dillard.
Made that deflection right there for South to knock that ball away.
The West Georgia transfer, the guy that should get the credit. Meantime, a run up the middle by Edwards. He'll get a couple, but it'll bring up another 3rd down and long. Blaine Myrick among the guys bringing Edwards down.
When you know he's chomping at the bit this week. I mean, just having to sit out last week, and especially middle linebackers have that they want to go hit somebody, and after having to sit out and watch that game last week in Auburn, I'm sure he's so excited to be back in there.
Free play here, I believe, for Coastal Carolina, as South Alabama, I think, got in the neutral zone. There is a flag across the way. Pass was incomplete, everywhere. But I think that's going to go on the Jags for jumping.
Yeah, but then you had some extracurricular in the backfield as well between a defensive lineman and offensive lineman. We'll see what that is. But Hudson saw that jump, and he was just throwing that ball to see if he could get something happening downfield. But we'll see what the secondary call is as well. 2 flags right there at the 15-yard line. The other one right around the line of scrimmage. 2 fouls on the play.
Offside, defense, number 97. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 57, hitting the player while on the ground. Those fouls offset. Replay, 3rd down.
So Tyler Thomas, the guy that jumped offside. Zach Elam, the center, who missed all of last year with an injury. And when we were talking to Coach Beck about Zach Elam, the center for Coastal Carolina, he really talked about Elam as kind of like Shane Bruce, just one of the big leaders, one of the big guys that rallies the team. And it's good to have him back in the lineup, but he was involved in that extracurricular activity, so it was as if the play doesn't exist. We'll do it again, 3rd down and 8. Washington in motion, so 3 receivers to the far side. Low snap. Hudson now in trouble. Steps up, throws it behind the intended receiver, and it's 4th down. As Malcolm Gilley is the guy he was trying to hit. But Hudson was under fire. A lot of hands grabbing for the ankles. They couldn't get to him. But it's another incompletion and another punt for Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, give that one to the pressure of the front of South Alabama. It looked like he almost had happy feet the way that the rush came in on him. Going back to that play before, though, I've never understood that your 5-yard penalty can be offset by a 15-yarder. Like, should we split the difference or do some math there? Or we just, it's weird to me we wipe those out.
This under-end kick checks up at about the 40-yard line and will go sideways, and that's where it'll be down. And the Jags will go back on offense in just a couple of minutes. Devin Voisin, we'll see if he can get the offense going. No score in the conference opener between South Alabama and Coastal Carolina. It is Extra Yard for Teachers Week, and here's a look at what South Alabama did to honor that. Indian Springs Elementary School was the school honored this year. $1,000 to the school and $100 to one of their teachers. An Amazon gift card to be used for school supplies. And, you know, in this world of NIL and everything else, it's sometimes easy to forget that these are student athletes. And a lot of these kids, especially on the South Alabama team, 21 from the Mobile and Baldwin County area. So they know what it's like to give back to the community, and that's what Extra Yard for Teachers is about. Good to see them back in the community. 1st down and 10 for the Jags. Davenport, quick throw to Devin Voisin. He is eaten up immediately after a modest gain. Once again, good closing speed by Miles Muyong. Still a gain of 5, though, for the Jags.
Yeah, but that's one of those setup plays, right? You hit Voisin on a quick one. If he can make a move, great. If he can't, you pick up 5 yards, and then maybe you come back to it later with a pump fake and then send Voisin downfield.
Back to the run game. Kentrell Bullock trying to move the pile. And he'll get about 3 yards up to the 48-yard line, bring up a 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, just tough sledding right there through the middle for Kentrell Bullock. We haven't seen him hemmed up much, but a nice job. Dante Lunan comes up and makes that tackle there for Coastal Carolina.
Bullock 5 carries for 20 yards. 3rd down and 2. They'll give it back to Bullock, right side. His 2nd effort gets it across the 50-yard line and a 1st down for South Alabama. 6th time the Jags have moved the chains offensively, and they get back into Coastal Carolina territory.
Boy, you just see the strength of Kentrell Bullock right there, because he came to the line, got hit right around the 49-yard line, maybe even bounced back a hair, and then he just spun himself off to the left-hand side and ducked his head and got in the middle of the pile, pushed it a little bit, and picked up the 1st down for South Alabama.
Bullock out of Columbia, Mississippi, originally signed with Ole Miss and then transferred into the Jags program a couple of years ago. Now Davenport, right side, just beyond the outstretched arms of Devin Voisin. Incomplete, 2nd down. It's a good effort there by Voisin, but he stands 5'10". If he was 5'11", might have had it.
Yeah, he's really looking downfield. He had a receiver running a post route, and Voisin was his outlet, and Voisin had some steps on the defender, just unable to connect as Davenport.
Davenport now 8 for 12 on the game. 2nd and 10 at the Coastal Carolina 47-yard line. There's Gibbs in motion now into the more traditional tight end set. Jags back to the ground game. There's Bullock bullying his way across the 40 and close to the 1st down. Kentrell Bullock. Good tough run by number 3. And it looks like he is about a yard shy. So 3rd down. They got to get to the 37-yard line. They're at the 38. 3rd down and 1.
What a block, though, by Maury Wiggins. He pulls on that play, and he really gets the kick out block. And that's what got Bullock the hole to get all the way up to make this a 3rd and 1 play.
Time running down here in the first half. 8 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. 3rd down and 1 is Bishop Davenport out of the shotgun. And it'll be Bishop taking it himself. Hit at the line of scrimmage, but falls forward. As Shane Bruce was the guy that got him in the backfield. But Davenport able to lean forward and get another South Alabama 1st down.
Boy, you're doing something when you're Davenport and you win that battle against Bruce right there, because he's one of the best in the conference, and he came up and looked like he was going to be able to fill that hole, but Davenport does a nice job of just kind of squeezing out of it and getting himself to the 35-yard line to move the sticks for South Alabama. That's a tough run.
1st and 10 at the Coastal 35-yard line. Little pitch pass to Anthony Eager. He's got speed if he can find the outside, but he can't. That's bottled up nicely. Dante Lunan, one of the guys that turned him back in. And if you let Anthony Eager get outside, you're in trouble. Coastal knew that and didn't allow it.
Yeah, we've seen that play work for South Alabama several times this year, but Coastal does a great job of getting penetration upfield and just kind of stringing it out and bringing them down for a 2-yard loss.
Once again, 3 down linemen, 5 in the box. So the Jags will go to the run. Well, nice shift by P.J. Martin. Left side, he's got a hole. P.J. Martin into the end zone. Loose football. Did he cross the plane first? And who recovered it if he didn't? Anthony Eager is down there.
I think Coastal
so is Dre Pinckney.
Oh, nope,
they're going to call it a touchdown. It is a touchdown for South Alabama. Anthony Eager, the guy that recovered it in the end zone. P.J. Martin got it there. And finally, the zeros off the scoreboard as the Jags get a touchdown.
Fumble in the field of play, recovered by the offense. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So they say P.J. Martin did indeed lose it before he crossed the plane. But Anthony Eager, the local product from McGill-Tulane Catholic High School, was there to pounce on it. And he was wrestling with Dre Pinckney and able to take it away and put the Jags on the board.
Yeah, I think everybody can kind of settle down a little bit, because I have a feeling they're not going to be kicking this one really quick as they
take a look at it.
Several looks at this one. Nope, they got the word. It's a touchdown.
So here comes DeBoyan on to kick. Hamilton DeBoyan, who missed 2 extra points last week at Auburn. Trying to right the ship here. Good snap, good hold. That one right down the middle. And the Jags on top 7-0. We'll keep it here as the South Alabama offense finally gets moving and gets moving consistently enough to put it in the end zone.
No, it's just a great run right there by Martin. He's able just to bounce it out to the left-hand side. You'll see right here, he gets it, gets up to the hole, and then just get a great jump cut to the outside. Then it's a foot race. And you'll see the ball punched out right there. Boy, it stays in bounds, but a heads-up play by Eager to jump on that.
So 2 kudos there. Number 1 to Miles Muyong, who never gave up on the play. He's the one that punched it out at about the 2-yard line. And then Anthony Eager, the receiver, who is downfield blocking. You know, it's easy once you see a running back that's off and running, it's easy to say, you know, I'm just going to let him go. But Eager didn't do it, and he was in the right spot at the right time. And South Alabama on top 7-0.
All right, so here's my question to you. For Eager, does that go down as a rushing touch? How do you?
It does.
How do you score that? You score that as a rushing touchdown for Eager, huh?
You do. It was a late play.
Well, so wait, so how far was his rush?
Good question. I'm going to say 2 yards.
Okay.
8-play, 60-yard drive. And the recovery in the end zone puts the Jags on top 7-0. And now the kick will sail out of bounds. My goodness, that's not what you want to do after you get momentum. And DeBoyan yanks it.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team, number 36. Ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
So that gives a struggling Coastal offense great field position to start another drive.
7 minutes left in this half. They still have all 3 of their timeouts. They'd love to put a drive together, because what you don't want to do is give South the ball back, give them an opportunity to get a kind of a 2-for-1, because they deferred in the on the coin toss, so they will get the ball to start the second half.
This will be the 5th drive for the Coastal Carolina offense. The first 4 have resulted in punts. And we'll see what they can do here. Here's Hudson. He's taking a couple of shots downfield. Flags fly as that one thrown well out of bounds. That flag thrown usually in the area of holding. Carmelo English was the receiver that was somewhat in the vicinity, but if he wasn't on row 3, I don't think he had a chance to catch it.
There's no foul on the play. Second down.
So the referees discuss it. They pick it up. It'll go down as an incompletion, second down.
I love the fact that Elam, every time they have a discussion, it seems like Elam kind of gets himself right in there just to see what's going on, maybe help him out a little bit. I love guys like that. Used to kind of sneak in that huddle a little bit, want to get the 4-1-1 on what's going on.
Edwards and Nicely blanketing Hudson. It'll be Nicely coming left side. He's got a hole. Nicely across the 50. Nicely into the clear. Finally broken down at about the 38-yard line. Dominic Nicely, who went out with an injury against Coastal Carolina. Check that. That was Javon Edwards, I should say, that made the run. Either way, great run. Now this is Nicely along the right side, and he'll get a good push for about 4 yards.
Yeah, they go back to the same play that we just saw, but what a great job sealing the end, kicking that end out right there. Blaine Meyer was coming up, and they did a great job of kicking him out. That opened the running lane. You and I had a great look at it. Boy, it was just a wide open running lane right there. As Coastal Carolina with a big gain, and then comes back to the same play, that time just to the right side to pick up 5 yards.
So that is Nicely, who got the last carry, gets this one as well, spins away from a tackle. First down, Dominic Nicely, and Coastal Carolina now in striking territory as they get down toward the 20-yard line.
Well, Nicely just running with all kinds of effort right there.
Give it to him again. Feed the beast. This time he is stacked up right at about the line of scrimmage. Much better penetration by South Alabama. Steven Johnson, the guy that met him in the hole, to bring up a second down and about 8.
Yeah, that's 6'3", 324 pounds right there. And Johnson does a great job of, the blocker was still on him as he's making the tackle right there for South Alabama.
Now Edwards is the setback along with Hudson. It'll be Hudson going right side, going into the end zone. Is that caught? Yes, it is. Touchdown, Coastal Carolina. Good strike. Malik Mega got inside the defense, just inside the pylon. The first touchdown of the season for Coastal Carolina in the first half, and the first passing touchdown of the season for Coastal Carolina. It's the strike from Hudson to Mega.
Coach Beck said that he was sticking with Tad Hudson. He liked what he saw out of him last week, other than the turnovers, and he does a great job right here. He's got one-on-one coverage on the outside. He throws it right to the pylon where his man can make a play, and it's touchdown for Coastal Carolina, and the point after is good as well.
We got a 7-7 ball game. So after no score between either team in the first quarter, a couple of fireworks here in the second. South Alabama had a fumble right around the goal line, recovered by Anthony Eager to go up 7-0. And then the strike from Hudson to Mega, 6 plays, 65 yards. Extra point is good, and we'll keep it here. It's a 7-7 game.
Boy, if you're Coach Beck, you got to love the answer of your team right there. I mean, it kind of started off with an errant kick out of bounds, so you get great field position off the 35, and then a couple of nice runs, and you're in Jaguar territory, and then Hudson with a strike right there to the pylon to get that touchdown for Coastal Carolina.
Philippe LaForge will be the kickoff specialist for Coastal. Got Kentrell Bullock up and Micah Woods back to receive the kickoff. 5 minutes, 8 seconds to go first half as the teams have traded touchdowns. It's 7-7. Now LaForge will drill it well beyond the scope of what Micah Woods can do. And it'll be a touchback in South Alabama football at the 20-yard line. 25-yard line, I should say. 1st and 10. There's a look at Coach Beck. That last play, 6 plays, 65 yards. And if this Coastal offense can get going, we've seen what the defense can do. It's not a bad defense, and it's not a bad offense. They just haven't been consistent with it.
Yeah, and that's what, Bruce talked about, and also Coach Beck, is that, they want to have short memories. They don't care about what happened the first 3 games. It all starts with Sun Belt play. Their goal was to win a Sun Belt conference, and that journey starts today and with conference play.
1st and 10 Jags at their own 25-yard line. There's the give to Phillips with a huge hole. Keenan Phillips, one man to beat. Across the 40, across the 30, finally tracked down right at about the 20-yard line. Keenan Phillips explodes for the South Alabama offense.
There's a nice answer right there, isn't it? I mean, what a hole by that offensive line. And Keenan's in the back, or in the secondary quick, and then trying to zigzag to make some guys miss. But boy, what a hole right there. As you can see, nobody in the screen as he hits the hole, and then Coastal Carolina does a good job of not giving up on the play and tracking him down.
54-yard run by Phillips. He's held to about 4 here, but gets it inside the red zone for about a 2nd and 6. So Keenan Phillips, my goodness, what a run for the Georgia military transfer. Now there's an injury to one of the Chanticleers.
Injury.
Not exactly sure what happened right there. He was at the bottom of the pile.
They may be looking at a knee or ankle, something on the left side.
I think that's
able to hobble off. That looks like Amari Notice.
Yeah.
The Idaho transfer. He's from Canada. In fact, among the top 20 prospects in the CFL draft. Interestingly enough, South Alabama has a linebacker in not Caleb Dozier. It's in Darius McKenzie, who is also on the watch list for the CFL draft. That's good football played north of the border. I watched some CFL in June and July.
Any sport you can get a running start like
yes.
that. That's what scares me is the goalpost. It reminds me of the old days, you know. I'd be the guy that finally got a touchdown and run smack into the goalpost and knock myself out.
But you got a 20-yard end zone. You got to love it.
I could still mess it up.
Eager in motion. They'll give to Phillips, right side. Phillips across the 15. Good hard running down to the 14-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd and about 3. As Keenan Phillips has been the workhorse here on this drive. 3 straight runs have put the Jags within striking distance. They've got to get to the 11-yard line to move the chains. There's Rod Gibbs in motion this time to the more traditional tight end spot. It'll be Phillips again. And Phillips close to the first down marker, and I believe he got it. Had to get to the 11, and yes, he did. Gets to the 10-yard line. First down, South Alabama.
But it's just a nice job of blocking again by that left side of that offensive line. And then we've got an injured Jaguar on the play. I didn't see exactly what happened. It looked like he was coming off the field and then just kind of laid down there.
Looks like that's Malachi Preciado, who's the starting center for South Alabama. He's a Purdue transfer. And at least according to the depth chart, Adrian Griffin would be the guy behind him. But Preciado anchors that very strong offensive line for South Alabama. Davis, Wiggins, Preciado, Hale, Hubbard. They've been really, really high on South Alabama's offensive line this year. And so far, we've got 171 yards rushing. Trying to see where Preciado was in that pile.
Yeah, he's right there. He gets rolled up on. I don't know if it's his arm. See how he's kind of got his, well, no, but he's immediately starts tapping himself out, and then he got about almost to the sideline and then just lays down. You hate to see that. That young man, he's had a really good start to this season. He is holding that arm against his body.
Here's hoping that the Jags will get a chance to see Preciado back in to the lineup. 6'2", 294 redshirt junior. There's a look at big Jordan Davis, the left tackle. He's 6'5", 305. As the Jags have 1st and goal right at the 10-yard line.
You know, a lot of people just, think about the center position. It's just the guy getting the ball back, right? No, it's the guy that's also walking up to the line of scrimmage, pointing out the blocking schemes, letting everybody know what's going on. And for South Alabama, looks like they've moved Wiggins over to the center position now.
Yep, Amari Wiggins is the guy, and there's a low snap immediately. Bishop Davenport falls on it at about the 18-yard line. And you got Wiggins, who is typically your left tackle. Not used to the shotgun snaps. That one just never got off the ground. And then Davenport smartly just falling on it as he had Jamarian Wayne bearing down on him. So now you got 2nd and goal at the 17. Ground game, left side, Bullock with a stiff arm. Kentrell Bullock inside the 10, back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe gets one more.
Yeah, I think he actually stepped out right around the 9-yard line. Not for a second, he got all the way, but great kick out block right there. And then a stiff arm gets him around the corner. But he does step out right around the 8.5, 9-yard line.
So you got 3rd and goal at the 9-yard line.
McCrumbie with the kick out block right there that sprung Bullock.
Jags need to get it into the end zone here. Amari Wiggins still at the center spot. And now a whistle and a timeout as we have hit the 2-minute timeout. So the Jags were looking at the clock. They say we'll take the timeout with them. Exactly 2 minutes to go. Jags inside the 10. We'll see what they do when we get back. Well, on this drive, Keenan Phillips put the Jags in pretty good position. So far, a 6-play, 66-yard drive that's taken 2.5 minutes. Phillips with a 54-yard run. But then after an injury to the center, a snap pushed South Alabama back. And then Kentrell Bullock gets the Jags back inside the 10 to the 9-yard line, and that's where they face a 3rd and goal right now. 7-7 ball game. That's Bullock set alongside Bishop Davenport. Once again, a slow snap, but it's Davenport taking it himself. Rumbles inside the 5 to about the 1.5. Now decision time. This is going to get interesting. 4th and goal at the 1, maybe 1.5. No hesitation from Major Applewhite. They're going to go.
Yeah, I thought if you got down inside the 3 that you're going. Anything other than that, maybe you're kicking the field goal. But like you said, no hesitation on South Alabama's part as they send in the jumbo package and line this thing up. But now Applewhite goes down to about the 5 and does call a timeout.
South Alabama, first charge of the half, 30 seconds in length.
And I think it was a situation, too, where you're going to see what kind of defensive package Coastal Carolina comes up with. You do have the factor that Malachi Preciado, the starting center, is not out there again. Even that last play wasn't a great snap, but it was able to be handled by Bishop Davenport, who was able to push it to about the 1.5-yard line, maybe the 2. They're going to officially call it 4th and 2.
Please set the game clock to 1:27. 1:27, please.
But Malachi Preciado, by the way, the center, is back in the huddle. I don't know if he's going to go in the ball game right now, but he is in that offensive huddle behind the specialists who are kind of see them rolling their eyes going, let me kick this thing. But South's going to go for it, and Preciado is going back in the ball game. Boy, that's good news for South Alabama.
Yeah, that's good to see right there, because the last couple of snaps, the first one almost rolled back, and the second 2 have been off to the left and low a little bit. Davenport's done a really nice job of being able to manage those and keep this drive alive for South.
So 4th and goal at the 2. McCrumbie in motion. Bullock, the carry. Bullock, the touchdown. South Alabama punches it in on 4th down.
That's just that offensive line right there, Pat. That's just a great push by that offensive line to give Bullock just a little slither he needed right there on the left-hand side. You pull a couple of guys, lead him right up into the hole, and it gives Bullock just enough room to get himself into the end zone. And a South Alabama touchdown.
Now Hamilton DeBoyan on to kick the extra point. 1 for 1 today. Good snap, good hold, and right down the middle. And that's a big touchdown for South Alabama. As they had moved it down the field, hurt themselves with a bad snap. And that's no shade on Amari Wiggins, the left guard, who had to pinch hit in that center duty when Preciado was out.
Boy, and it's hard to come in cold like that, too. But what a great job. What a kick-out block right there. And just a nice job of getting up in the hole. That's McCrumbie again.
Trent Thomas was in there as well. He had too many people to name who led the way for Kentrell Bullock, who gets into the end zone now for the 4th time this season.
There's a shot in the booth. There's Pat doing the push-ups as we get ready for kickoff. Could you do a push-up like that?
Not that, no. I can do normal push-ups, but I don't think that guy's normal back there. Not gonna lie. Malcolm Gilley.
We went to get a few more people if we're gonna hold you up like that too.
Got that right. Malcolm Gilley is back at the goal line. Now, Coastal Carolina still has 3 timeouts to work with. Minute 24.
And their confidence has got to be, I mean, the last drive, Hudson was spot on, had some really nice throws, and for them to come out and get that first passing touchdown of the year, boy, their confidence level has to be really kind of sky high right now and ready, chomping at the bit to get back out there and get another shot at it.
Much better kick this time by DeBoyan as Gilley will field it 2 yards deep in the end zone. He's going to take it out of there, and he is stood up and pushed back at the 15-yard line. That's Christyle Caldwell. He's a linebacker by trade, and you can tell by the way he made that tackle at about the 15-yard line.
Yeah, that's one of those ones you hadn't had a chance to return any of them. The one that was out of bounds, one went over your head, and you get the opportunity, and you're chomping at the bit to go, and Caldwell comes down there and makes a great open field tackle at the 15-yard line.
So given that field position, let's see what Tim Beck and his offensive coordinator, Drew Hollingshead, decides to do here. 4 down for South Alabama. They lead at 14-7. They will give it, no, it'll be Hudson taking it himself. And doesn't have very far to go. Gets maybe a yard before he is stacked up and pushed back. And the clock will continue to run. It looks like Coastal may wave the white flag here and say, let's go into the locker room. Although they do get up to the line pretty quickly.
Ed Smith, the fourth, comes right up the middle right there in that nose guard position to stop Hudson. That young man's a load at 6'3", 296.
It'll be Simpkins. A little hesitation, and Simpkins across the 30 to the 31-yard line. First down for Coastal Carolina.
Boy, he was about a half a step away from being off to the races right there for Coastal.
So given that, you start the wheels turning just a bit. There's Hudson looking for a receiver. All sorts of time. Gets it to Simpkins in the flat. He will fall at about the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of 1. Well, they have all 3 timeouts to work with, and they finally do. They do not call that one. I thought I saw the sideline motioning for a timeout. They don't. It looks like they'll go into the locker room. That's interesting. After some positive momentum, get it to the 31-yard line. I thought they may try to take a couple of shots. Instead, they will walk it into the locker room. So no score after 1. Had some fireworks here in the second. 2 touchdowns by the Jags, 1 by Coastal Carolina. And we go into the halftime locker room with a 14-7 ball game. South Alabama in the lead. Halftime festivities from Mobile, Alabama, coming up next as the Jags and Chanticleers in the conference opener. There's a touchdown pass by Coastal, answered by Kentrell Bullock. And there's a look at the South Alabama campus in Mobile. We got a good one. It's halftime. South Alabama on top of Coastal Carolina 14-7. Pat Greenwood, Brian Gennard back in our broadcast booth. And go back to last week, Coastal against East Carolina. It was a 38-0 final, but it was a 10-0 ball game at halftime. Coastal's hanging in.
Yeah, Coastal's not only hanging in, they're playing really well. They had that nice drive. They got their first offensive pass touchdown of the year. They're feeling good and confident. The defense is playing strong. I mean, South playing well, but Coastal right there with them.
We got a game. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. And you talk about that offense from Coastal Carolina. Right now, 152 yards total. It was the air game. Airing it out to Bryson Graves. What a great catch. First quarter, no score between the two. But then South Alabama finally cracks the scoreboard. P.J. Martin along the left side fumbles it at about the 2-yard line, but Anthony Eager is there for the recovery and the touchdown. 7-0 South Alabama. There is that touchdown pass you were talking about. Hudson to Mega. It's 7-7. But then Keenan Phillips, my goodness, what a hole. 54 yards to set up a 4th down and goal for the Jags. And you give it to the big bull, Kentrell Bullock, into the end zone, and that is where we are, 14-7 at this point.
Yeah, if you really look at these stats, to me, the difference has been the offensive line play of South Alabama. They have 181 rushing yards, leading to those 228 total. Only 47 in the air for South, 54 for Coastal. 2 of 6 on third downs. South Alabama 6 of 10 on third downs, and time of possessions really heavily favored to South Alabama.
And the Jags will get the ball to start the second half. That's coming your way next from Hancock Whitney Stadium. Back at Hancock Whitney Stadium, it is 14-7. South Alabama with the lead, and the Jags will get the ball to start the second half. Hey, reminder, folks, get all of ESPN college football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log on with your TV provider. Glad you're with us on ESPN Plus as the conference opener between South Alabama and Coastal Carolina. Now, these two are in different divisions. In fact, the Sun Belt Conference is the only league in FBS that still has divisions. I like divisions. I like the fact that you have an East and a West, but you get a chance in the West to play 2 teams each year from the East. For South Alabama, they'll host Coastal Carolina, and they will travel to Georgia State later on in the season. Meantime, for Coastal Carolina, this is the 4th time that they have played South Alabama. The Chanticleers have won 2 straight. First meeting was back in 2018, but these two programs are very similar. Coastal's only been playing football for 23 years. South Alabama is in year 17. One small difference, though, is that Coastal played FCS for a little while and moved up to FBS a little bit later than South Alabama. But you're talking about two very young football programs doing battle tonight in Mobile. And it's a pretty good one. 14-7 Jags. They'll have the football as Philippe LaForge, who has punched it out of the end zone every time he's had an opportunity, and he'll do it again. And South Alabama will have it at the 25-yard line to start the third quarter.
Yeah, that ball bouncing around the end zone, and now all you have to do is just put your arms out and show that you're not going to play it. But if you saw in the NFL last week, the ball bounced around the end zone and was recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. So it was you think about your high school days, those balls were alive, right? And in college now, you just throw your hands out and say, hey, we're not playing it. And it just, I'm not crazy about that rule. I like it where you have to go at least put your hand on it and take a knee.
Bishop Davenport 9 of 13 for 47 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He will hand it off to a spinning Kentrell Bullock. Gets almost up to the 30-yard line. A nice positive gain of about 4 yards, brings up a 2nd down and 6.
They go back to that strength of what got them most of their yards in the first half, and that was that running game. They had some big chunk plays, but that offensive line's been playing really well for the first half for South Alabama.
Coastal starting to crowd the box a little bit. They're going to try to make Bishop throw, and he will try to throw here. A little turn to Devin Voisin, and he misfires, does Bishop. Voisin was there. He was open when what would have been a first down, but Bishop rolling to his right didn't get enough on the throw, and now it's 3rd down.
Sure, I didn't see if Voisin lost his footing when he came out of his break, or if it was just him going down trying to get that ball.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think the throw was low. Bishop was trying to throw it low to get it away from the defender, but too close to the turf. So 3rd down and 6. Jags trying to avoid a 3 and out to start the second half. Bishop to Voisin across the middle. That's picked off. Jump the route.
But they're saying that ball was incomplete. The referee, the line judge here on the near sideline, quick to say that it was incomplete. But I think a lot of that was because of just the bull rush right up the middle. Preciado's not in there.
Miles Woods was the guy that, there's a look at the throw previously to Voisin, but Miles Woods was the guy that jumped the route, and they're going to take a look at this, I believe.
And it looks like the right guard Gerardo is the one who actually, they've moved over to center right there for South. But again, I think it's the bull rush that's right up the middle that really kind of caused that pressure for Davenport.
And Miles Woods was waiting on that slant pass, and let's take a look at it and see if it was indeed. I don't know, man. It looked like an interception in real time to me.
Yeah, the bad thing is you have to have enough evidence to overturn it, because the call on the field was incomplete
After
pass.
video review, ruling of incomplete is upheld.
And there you go.
Down.
So they had a much better view of it than we did. And so an incomplete pass. Let's take a look at it from this angle.
Boy,
We get a much better look here.
Right in.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. So the officials were on it. The review, right on top of it after that.
The camera crew was on it as well.
Absolutely.
Great shot of it right there.
So Bryson Graves back to field the punt from Alexi Polkinen, as he'll stand at his 15-yard line. Alexi shanks it. He did this against Tulane as well.
Almost the exact same position on the field as well.
Right. As he shanks it to the right, right by the sideline. And you're going to talk about maybe a 10-yard punt, and great field position for Coastal Carolina, as they'll take it at their own at the South Alabama 36-yard line.
They actually mark it all the way out to the 40.
Make it to the 40 now, yeah. But either way, what a start for the field position for Coastal. As Polkinen used to booming him, but he shanked it twice this year, and this one could hurt. Simpkins is the recipient of the play fake. Now all by himself. First down and then some. Brooks Johnson, his first reception of the day, as you had Simpkins clearing it out, and then Johnson curls back underneath. Nobody accounted for him. First down, Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, he just sneaks out in the flats, and nobody goes with him. I mean, just wide open. Ty Goodwill going to come up from that safety position to make the stop.
Now Simpkins breaks a tackle, pops it to the outside, inside the 20, near the first down marker. We'll call it a gain of 9. And Coastal Carolina knocking on the door here to try and tie this thing up.
Really kind of worst case scenario for South Alabama. It's an offense that struggled the first 3 games, and then they get their first passing touchdown, and then right before the half had a couple of really nice runs, and they're probably feeling more confidence than they've had all year long as that Coastal Carolina offense as they continue to move the ball.
So second down and 1. Hudson to throw, looking for the end zone, has a man and has a touchdown. Hudson to Robbie Washington, got behind the defender, and we're an extra point away from being tied in Mobile.
Yeah, just like he ran a little wheel route, and once he turned, he gets behind the defender. Hudson sees him and lets that ball go, and then puts a lot of just nice air underneath that ball to let his receiver run under it right in the corner of the end zone.
You're absolutely right. Perfect touch. He sees about 2 yards separation between the receiver and the defender. Extra point is good. And we have played less than 2 minutes into the third quarter. We got a tie ball game. Coastal punches back. The Chanticleers. Touchdown pass. Hudson to Washington. 14-all. Well, South Alabama went 3 and out. An 11-yard punt resulted in a 3-play, 40-yard drive. It was Robbie Washington who will finish it off after some really good offensive plays by Coastal Carolina. In fact, we're able to show the whole drive. It only took 3 plays. Nice little touch pass to Washington in the end zone. And it all started with that 11-yard punt after the Jags went 3 and out. And it is a 14-14 game here in Mobile.
You know, one of the things that Coach Beck told us, Tad Hudson hadn't played a game since high school. Really hadn't started a game and really had action. He's a redshirt sophomore, and that game last week was the first time he'd been on the field in a couple of years, and that young man's getting some confidence tonight and playing really well.
He did get a chance to play in the Myrtle Beach Bowl and then got the start last week against East Carolina, but you're right, not a guy that has had a ton of playing experience. Meantime, Bishop Davenport for South Alabama behind Gio Lopez still got a decent amount of playing time. And like Hudson, Davenport got a chance to play in South Alabama's bowl game and was actually the Salute to Armed Forces Veterans Bowl MVP, leading the Jags past Western Michigan. But right now is Davenport 9 of 15, 47 yards passing, and he has his Jags 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Well, play fake, and now across the middle, and that one is picked off. Going the other way. Left side, interception, and the guy that almost got the interception last time seals it here, Miles Woods.
Miles Wood just sitting back and kind of watching the quarterback's eyes. I don't think Davenport ever saw him back there. He's looking at the slant route the entire time. He throws it, and he's kind of watching the board right now to see the replay to see exactly where Woods came from, and Woods just undercuts the route as he throws it right to him.
And his intended receiver had some good coverage as well, but Woods able to take it back the other way in another short field for Coastal Carolina. They've got it at the South Alabama 20 and trying to take the lead. Dominic Nicely is the setback next to Tad Hudson. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. There's Washington in motion. Thinks about going to him, goes the other way, and it's dropped. Trying to get it to Brooks Johnson. Hit him in the hands, but falls to the turf. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, probably not a bad thing he didn't catch it, because I don't think he would have gone far, maybe even lost a couple yards. They fake to the receiver out on the right-hand side, and they set the screen up to the left, but the Jaguars do a good job of kind of sniffing it out and being right there to defend it.
Well, we've seen this formation a lot tonight. Edwards to the right and nicely to the left. It's Edwards with a big hole. Edwards, one guy to beat. Tripped up inside the 5-yard line, and Javon Edwards puts Coastal Carolina on the door.
Boy, what a great job by the left side of that offensive line, just opening up a huge hole right there.
Give it to Edwards again, and Edwards fighting toward the goal line and push back. Blaine Myrick is the guy that met him near the goal line to push him back. But it's 2nd down and goal.
Here's that play before, just a nice open hole. Blaine Myrick kind of with a dive and stop to slow him down. Wallace Jr. finishes him off, and then a short run right up the middle.
So 2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Coastal trying to regain the lead. Hudson will pitch to nicely, and he is pushed back. Wesley Miller was waiting for the pitch, and he takes Dominic nicely, pushes him back, and now we got a 3rd and goal from the 7.
Wesley Miller's in the backfield so fast that the tackle they pulled to go out to try to block him, he avoids that, kind of takes him with him.
And Nick Del Grande was the guy tasked with trying to catch up to Wesley Miller, but Miller had too much speed. And now 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. Simpkins now the running back, as Hudson under some pressure scrambles, looking for the end zone. Hudson dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Coastal Carolina. Tad Hudson gaining confidence with every second that ticks off the clock. And Coastal Carolina now has a 6-point lead with the extra point pending.
That's just a great read right there by Hudson. He drops back. He starts going through his progressions. He doesn't see anybody, but he does see the middle of the field open wide open. And then he gets to the goal line, knows he's going to be met with pressure, leaves his feet around the 2 and lands in the end zone.
Keon Afrukte nails his 3rd extra point. It's good. And it's 21-14, Coastal Carolina with the lead in Mobile. The Jags have had some issues. Coastal Carolina has taken advantage. The Shots with the lead. We'll be back to Mobile after this on ESPN+. Well, Miles Woods is a safety sophomore from Grayson, Georgia. Almost had an interception on the previous drive. Wasn't able to field it cleanly. Next drive, no doubt about it. He climbs the ladder, goes the other way for the interception, puts Coastal Carolina in great position. They score the touchdown, and the Chanticleers in Sun Belt Conference openers won 2 of their last 3, and they're looking pretty good right now. They won at Georgia State back in 2022, lost to the Panthers in 23, and then beat Old Dominion last year 45-37. And the Shots have shocked the Jags with 2 quick touchdowns. We haven't played 5 minutes yet in the 3rd quarter, and it has been a bad punt, an interception, and South Alabama, as Major Applewhite likes to say, South Alabama beating South Alabama. But Coastal Carolina, you got to give them the credit for taking advantage of it.
Yeah, we talked about it in our opening and also at halftime and some other times as well. It's a Coastal Carolina team that's just been right on the cusp, and it seems like turnovers and just mistakes by them have really kind of been their downfall. And tonight they got a clean sheet so far, and South Alabama, like you said, bad punt, the interception, and Coastal able to take advantage of both of those and give themselves a lead here in the 3rd quarter.
Only turnover was on the last drive on the Bishop Davenport interception. So 1st and 10, they'll keep it on the ground. No, they won't. They will do the quick pass to Anthony Eager, and Eager gets across the 30 to the 32-yard line. The crowd wants a little extracurricular activity as there was a late push by one of the defenders for Coastal Carolina. No call, though.
I think what saved Coastal is they picked him up, and since they kind of gently placed him back down to the carpet instead of slamming him down to the carpet, I think that's kind of what saved him, as he jumps right here He kind of gets himself in, then nope, and then they kind of laid him back down. And the crowd reacted when he went up in the air.
That'll make it a 2nd down and 2 at the 33-yard line. Davenport will pull it again. Safety valve is Bullock, and Bullock is pushed back. Great open field tackle once again by Coastal Carolina. Dre Pinckney is the guy that just squared Bullock up and pushed him back.
Yeah, I think it looked worse than it actually was. I think Bullock's trying to put on the brakes to see if he can go by him, but Pinckney does a good job of just, like you said, squaring him up. And so it's one of those, you love the way that Bullock usually kind of ducks his head. You usually don't see him try to make some of those plays. Usually he's more of the aggressor, and they hand the ball up to him right there and let him pick up the 1st down.
That is a big move for South Alabama as they finally get their first down of the 3rd quarter on the 3rd drive. That's 11 first downs total for the Jags.
And still no Preciado there in the middle. So you've got Gerardo there at that's moved over.
Kenton Gerardo.
Gerardo, yeah, I'm sorry, from the right guard position, and then Asher Hale now playing right guard.
Once again, a swing pass out to the outside, open field for Bullock, and Bullock making some moves across the 50 to the 47-yard line. Another 1st down for the Jags.
That's just a great job by your receiving core and the blocking out there. That's exactly what sets that play up. When you've got receivers that are willing to block the way that South Alabama does, you see it right there. Thomas gets a block.
Now Bullock unloads to the near side. Anthony Eager makes a move to get it to the 40-yard line. It's a pickup of about 7. Bring up a 2nd down and 3, and the Jags going tempo here.
It's almost one of those ones you thought Davenport could maybe just tuck that one under and run, see if he get a block from Eager, but instead just you could almost just do a little shuttle pass. They were so close together. Probably one of the hardest throws to make when you're that close to a guy and not trying to put too much zip on it.
2nd down and 3 officially. They'll give up the middle. They got the 1st down and more. There's P.J. Martin. P.J., who almost had a touchdown in the 2nd quarter, fumbled at about the 2. Anthony Eager was able to pounce on it for the touchdown.
Boy, I've said his name 100 times tonight, and they're mostly been on blocks, but Miller Montgomery does another great job on a kickoff block on that last play.
There's another hard couple of yards for P.J. Martin. We'll call it 2, bring up a 2nd down at 8 as the Jags get it to the 25-yard line, trying to respond after 2 quick touchdowns by Coastal Carolina in this 3rd quarter.
Well, if you want to get on a coach's good side, be a receiver that can catch the ball, but also not afraid to stick your nose in there and block for somebody as well.
Martin bounces to the left, stood up at about the 22-yard line. So positive yardage, but still about 5 yards shy of the 1st down to bring up a 3rd down and 5. Big hit there by Zamarian Gordon. 36 tackles last year for the Chanticleers. 16 tackles coming into tonight.
Martin kind of made a nice little jump cut to the left, and then when he slowed down again, Gordon just kind of zeroed him up right there around the 23-yard line.
Jags will now go 5 wide. Nobody in the backfield. They're going to the end zone. Anthony Eager, the intended target, knocked away, and flags. Lionel Whitaker was the guy in stride with Eager, but it was a question of did he get in to Eager's body before the ball did, and the officials say yes, pass interference.
Yeah, I think the problem was he didn't turn his head back. Whitaker just kind of staying right there with
defense. Number 4. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic.
He's running stride for stride, and you'll see it right here as Davenport does a good job of making that throw, putting a little air under it. Whitaker never looks back, and so as Eager slows down, he kind of gets up in his body, and that's where the flag comes in.
So that'll result in a 1st and 10.
15-yard penalty.
So make it a 15-yard penalty. It wasn't half the distance to the goal, but it will put South Alabama inside the 10 to give them a 1st and goal. Or at least that's where they've spotted it now at the 8. And it looks like that is indeed where they will go. 1st and goal for the Jags at the 8. Martin still the running back. The big bodies up front. It'll be Martin dancing through the middle. P.J. Martin down to the 5. Well, what a response by South Alabama offensively. You got to finish this drive, but after 2 miserable plays, the Jags now knocking on the door trying to tie this thing up. 2nd and goal at the 5. Martin twisting and turning. He stopped at about the 5 and then turned his way down to about the 3. That's just pure effort by number 22 to bring up a 3rd and goal.
I don't even know how he got out of the pile right there, Pat. I thought he was down at the 5, and all of a sudden you see him kind of twist and turn and pop out to get a couple of extra yards. As now you're sending some bigger bodies in, and Coastal Carolina takes the opportunity to send some of their jumbo package in as well to try to stiffen up that defensive line of scrimmage.
Bullock in the backfield. There's Rod Gibbs in motion. 3rd and goal. The snap is way over Bishop Davenport's head. He scrambles and covers it up at the 20-yard line, but that'll give you a certain field goal opportunity here. As Kenton Girardeau, the backup center right now, Malachi Preciado, who's the starter, who is about as consistent as it gets. He got hurt in the 2nd quarter, and the bad snap will lead to a field goal attempt by South Alabama. Be a 37-yard attempt by Hamilton DeBoyan. Hamilton 3 for 3 on field goal attempts on the year. Now make it 4 of 4. Drills it through, and the Jags do respond with a field goal. It's 21-17. Coastal Carolina with the football when we get back to Mobile. It's 21-17. The field goal from Hamilton DeBoyan brings South Alabama closer in the Sun Belt Conference opener. Coastal Carolina right now with the lead, and they'll get the football back as the Jags have won 2 of their last 3 conference openers. Big win last year. Really kind of turned a lot of eyes and turned a lot of heads when South Alabama won 48-14 at App State. Prior to that, they lost at James Madison, then beat Louisiana for the first time, their first win ever at Cajun Field. But their last home win in a conference opener came back in 2020, and they've got some work to do in order to get the win here. This one is returnable. There's Gilly coming toward us, spins, and gets out to the 30-yard line. Malcolm Gilly not afraid to return those kickoffs. One of those situations where South Alabama, we've seen that Coastal is clearly going to kick it out of the end zone. South Alabama doesn't mind the kick return game. Gilly got stopped at about the 15-yard line on one of his returns, but this time he gets it all the way out to the 30-yard line. So good field position for Tad Hudson and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Got Simpkins on one side, Nicely on the other. It'll be Nicely with a reverse. Ball is on the turf, picked back up, and not going anywhere is Robbie Washington. Good recovery by Nehemiah Chandler for South Alabama, helped out by the mishandling of the football by Coastal.
Boy, Coastal got lucky there, right? When that ball just took a great bounce straight back up. And that's really kind of what saved them. That could have been a disaster for Coastal.
So they'll actually get it 1 positive yard, make it 2nd down and 9. Nicely in motion. Hudson, quarterback draw designed. He'll get up to the 31. Ball's on the turf, and then a late flag. That's probably a face mask. And then as you see Hudson coming up without a helmet, you say probably a face mask. Likely.
Personal foul. Defense, face mask.
And now confirmed.
15 yards added at the end of the run. 1st down. Number 12 can stay in the game due to the foul.
You thought that was in the area of the face mask, but then when you see the quarterback coming up without a lid on his head, like, well, yeah, that's probably a face mask. Amari Smiley is the guy charged with a face mask.
And really not even on the face mask, got him back from the back of the helmet and assisted taking it off. I'll tell you one thing, those are sharp helmets too. I love that black color with the logo on the side of it.
Hudson throws it behind nicely, incomplete. It'll be second down, so now Hudson throwing 50% on the night. He's 10 for 20, 85 yards, but he does have 2 passing touchdowns.
Well, more importantly, he's taking care of the ball. You know, he does have 10 incompletions, but he's been able to take care of the ball, whether it be when he's running the ball or also in his passing game as well. No turnovers tonight for Coastal Carolina.
Second down and 10. There's Nicely. Will push his way up to about midfield after he's met in the hole by a couple of South Alabama defenders. Brings up a third down and about 7. It's Mike Harris, the transfer from Baylor, one of the guys in. As you see, Tad Hudson, he's done what he needed to do. Keep Coastal Carolina in the ballgame. He hadn't been flashy by any stretch. But all you got to do is look at the scoreboard and say, you know what? I'll take that. Shots up 4, trying to add to it here. 3rd and 7. Hudson, good snap, throws right side, connects, but he's going to be shy of the first down by about a yard, as the pass was complete to the running back, Javen Simpkins. But now 4th down in South Alabama territory. You got to figure the shots are going to go for it here.
Yeah, just a little wheel route out into the flats, but Hudson just underthrows it just a little bit. Makes his running back come back for it. And that's what left him short. But boy, this is a big play right here for both teams.
4th and 1. They've got to get to the 43-yard line. Plenty of time on the play clock. Simpkins is your running back. 2 minutes and 42 seconds and counting.
And they're going to get a timeout right here.
Wow, I thought for sure that Coastal would go for it here. But instead,
delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. We play 4th down.
They will put the ball in the hands of the South Alabama offense and punt it away. I thought with the momentum that Coastal had built up, would be a bad idea to go for it there on 4th and goal.
Yeah, I'm with you. They have all the momentum and really haven't had any negative plays here in the second half. I mean, even the one when they tried to reverse and they fumbled it, they still picked up a yard on that play. So I'm kind of shocked that they didn't try to sneak that one right up the middle or do something to pick up that first down, but they are going to kick this one back to South Alabama.
So Emil Sebafunde will boot it away with flags on the field. Fair catch by Devin Voisin at the 10-yard line.
I think it's going to be a legal formation call. We'll see. They're going to go over and talk to Major Applewhite and see what he wants to do.
Probably tack it on to the end of that fair catch.
Illegal formation. Kicking team, number 6 in the backfield. Number 4 in the backfield. 5 yards will be added to the end of the kick. First down.
That is indeed what happened. So it'll be South Alabama football at their own 15-yard line. Now here comes Bishop Davenport and the South Alabama offense. 272 total yards for the Jags, just 79 through the air. So they've eaten up 193 yards on the ground. There's Bishop's numbers, 13 of 20. But that one interception was costly. Led to the second touchdown in the third quarter for Coastal that has ultimately put the Chanticleers on top. It was 21-14. Jags were able to get a field goal back to make it 21-17. And now they'll start the offense again. Back to the ground game. Good hard running up to about the 20-yard line. We did check on Malachi Preciado, the starting center, who's been a stalwart for South Alabama's offensive line. They say it is unlikely he'll return. They haven't officially said he's not coming back, but they say unlikely that he will return.
I would think if he was going to be back after that bad snap there on the goal line, it would have been on this drive.
Keenan Phillips had the last carry. Gets that one close to the first down. He had to get to the 25. This one's going to depend on the spot. Did he hit the line or did he fall just short? And they say no, he did indeed hit the line. Another first down for South Alabama. Their 15th of the night. as the chains move, and Phillips will stay on the field here. First and 10 at their own 25-yard line. Davenport to throw it. There's Voisin in space, and that space closes quickly. Once again, that's great closing speed by the Coastal defense. Lionel Whitaker is the guy that made the stop. I've been very impressed with how quickly they cover up those holes, especially in open field.
Yeah, that time they just can't hold their block on that side, and Whitaker does a nice job of fighting his way through the block right there for Coastal to make that stop.
So second down and 10, now a whistle, and I assume movement here by South Alabama.
That's going to be a false start. I think the
False start.
left guard moved.
57, offense. 5-yard penalty. We play second down.
Good eyes partner, that is Amari Wiggins, who's called for the penalty. 4 penalties now for South Alabama, 35 yards. And we're under a minute to go here in the third quarter. It's 21-17. And now you got a second and 15 for the Jags at their own 20. Davenport sends Phillips to the far side. Well, tunnel screen. Here comes the catch and a couple of moves by Eager. Eager will dive his way to the 29-yard line. Positive yards to bring up a manageable 3rd and 6.
He was one block away from maybe kind of breaking this, but I think Bruce kind of snuck up under the block, and when he did, it forced Eager to keep bending that thing outside instead of being able to turn it upfield. And that's what brought him up short of maybe getting a first down there.
Referees holding after the substitution. 6 seconds left here in the third quarter. And we'll see if the Jags try to run another play, and they do not. So they'll take the timeout. We'll go to the fourth quarter. We played 3 complete. It's 21-17 Coastal. First conference game for these two. Coming down to the fourth quarter. We'll have it for you next on ESPN+. Well, it's been a Coastal Carolina kind of weekend here on the South Alabama campus. This was Thursday night. South Alabama hosting the Chanticleers in women's soccer. Andrea Ilkic scored a goal 5 minutes in, scored another goal 1 minute later. Jags poured on 4 in the first half and wound up beating Coastal Carolina 4-1. But Joe Chubb, the women's coach at Coastal Carolina, used to be an assistant at South Alabama. And this is a Coastal soccer team that took James Madison to a tie. A very good Coastal team. But South Alabama right now undefeated in conference play. They'll play at Southern Miss this coming weekend. And it's a shame the way the schedule worked out that the ladies couldn't stay and watch the football team. But they've got a game coming up this weekend as well. Meantime, their Coastal Carolina Chanticleers have a lead going into the fourth quarter. Coastal lost to Virginia to begin the season 48-7. Came back to beat Charleston Southern 13-0. And then lost last week to East Carolina 38-0. But now here they are with a 4-point lead as we start the fourth quarter on a 3rd down and 6 for South Alabama at their own 29-yard line. Davenport will throw. The catch is made. Yes, it is. Devin Voisin went down to the turf to make the catch. Thought for a second that thing may have skipped, but it is just enough to move the chains for a first down.
It is, and a great catch by Voisin to go down and catch that one. Pat, I'm going to go back to a question we had in the second quarter. I'll tell you after this play.
Keenan Phillips is the running back with 3 wide, and it looks like they may take a look at this.
The ruling on the field is a catch. Previous play is under video review.
So it was a low throw, and there are often times where you need to throw it low because of defenders. This was not one of them. As Voisin was by himself, but Devin had to go down to the turf to make the catch. Let's see if this thing skipped at him. Hard to tell from that angle. Might have a decent shot of it from the other end zone. But remember, the ruling on the field is the fact that it's a catch and a first down. So you're going to have a lot of evidence to overturn it. Otherwise, it'll be upheld. This is probably the best angle we're going to have.
Yeah, I think Voisin gets his hands under there.
Yep.
I hate to say anything. I'm 0 for 23.
Great camera work.
That was a great job by the camera
as always.
Right there. So I go back to one we had reviewed earlier. Didn't take this long because they were buzzed down from up top. But when Anthony Eager recovered that fumble in the end zone, it does go down as a 0-yard rush for a touchdown. But as you see it here and super slow, let's see if he gets his hands underneath this thing.
Yeah,
I think he does.
Yep, they are going to indeed uphold it.
1 for 23, baby.
Good catch there by Voisin. Good camera work by our ESPN Plus student camera crew, doing a great job. And it's the first down for South. And you.
Thank you.
Brian Gennard.
Yeah, 1 for 23.
Up in the booth. You're always on top of the replays.
I usually I've got to learn just not to say anything at all. And my record won't get any worse.
So 1st and 10. Davenport back to throw. Pressure from the far side. He's got a man wide open. That's Voisin. Devin Voisin on the long strike. And the Jags are deep in Coastal Carolina territory.
We've been waiting for it all night long. He had a long of 65 earlier, I guess against Auburn, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden, boy, they come out of that review right there, run Voisin on a straight post route, and Davenport does a great job of laying this ball out to him.
And now they'll give it to Keenan Phillips. And Phillips working his way inside the 15 to the 13. The 43-yard strike to Devin Voisin. He just laid it up there, and Voisin had beaten the 2 defenders and was able to make the long completion, the first chunk play we've seen offensively from South Alabama.
Yeah, they've had a couple on the ground, but the first one from the air definitely tonight. And you just wondered when Voisin was going to get behind everybody and Davenport find him, and it was right then.
2nd down and 6. It'll be Davenport to Eager, and led him just a little bit too much. Anthony couldn't haul it in. Not sure he would have gone very far anyway, because Miles Woods was right in Eager's hip pocket.
I'm glad you were watching it, because I was watching P.J. Martin being led around the other end, thinking one block and he's in the end zone, and you're talking about Eager, and so I changed my field of vision to the other side of the field, because it was a great play fake. It took me with it.
Jags have to get to about the 8-yard line. 3rd down. Davenport will take it himself, loses his footing, gets back to about the 15-yard line. And you would assume that'll set up another DeBoyan field goal attempt. And here he comes.
Boy, it looked like for a second he was going to squirt right there through the middle, but Jaden Bryant does a nice job of getting Davenport by the ankle and kind of really grabbing him before he got his momentum going.
This will be a 33-yard attempt for Hamilton DeBoyan. He already has 1 field goal to his credit. This one would bring the Jags within 1. Lexi Pulkkinen is the holder. Good snap, good hold, but it is on the way, and it is wide right. He pushed it. And so with that, we'll keep the score 21-17, and we'll go to break. It's Coastal Carolina still on top. They lead 21-17. The Shots have the football when we get back. Well, Devin Voisin with a great catch to put South Alabama in action. Voisin has 7 catches for 77 yards along a 48 right there. He's got 4 touchdowns this season, only 1 back in 23 and 24. But it's just been a nightmare of a second half so far for South Alabama. An 11-yard punt led to a Coastal Carolina touchdown. An interception led to another Coastal touchdown. Jags have had a bad snap that then resulted in a made field goal. And then after a long drive, a 33-yard field goal that was pushed to the right. And so we'll keep it 21-17. And Coastal Carolina has the football at their own 25-yard line. Hudson under some pressure, flushed right. And Hudson escapes the pressure, somehow throws out of bounds. Now, was he out of the tackle box? Because there was not a receiver in the area. It was certainly beyond the line of scrimmage. But if he was out of the tackle box, that's perfectly legal. And that's what the officials right now have said, yeah, he was.
The official walked over and kind of pointed to a spot on the field where he thought he was out of the tackle box. But his receiver was 20 yards away from where that ball went out of bounds.
So 2nd and 10 as Simpkins lines up right next to Hudson, and it'll be Simpkins who gets the carry and the big hole. Simpkins across the 30-yard line. 1st down, Coastal Carolina.
And Blaine Myrick's going to make the tackle, but not till he gets about 11 yards down the field. Just another great job by that offensive line over there on the right side. They just open up a well of a hole. You see it right there, and then all of a sudden Blaine Myrick comes from that middle linebacker spot to make the tackle for South Alabama.
Simpkins now the leading rusher for Coastal. He's got 7 carries for 58 yards. Now Hudson back to the air, throws left side, and he is bottled up for a loss.
Boy, that was a dangerous play right there, because it looked like South Alabama was all around it. They're going to lose a couple on it, but Hudson threw that one into a lot of traffic over there on the left-hand side.
Eli Aragon, the former Leatherneck from Western Illinois, made the catch, but it is a loss of 2. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 12. Now they'll go ground game left side. Dominic Nicely get back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe another yard or so to bring up a 3rd down. And today on 3rd down, Coastal just 3 of 8. But the deal is, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It matters what you do here, as we are now under 11 minutes to go, and Coastal facing a 3rd down and 9 at the 32.
And Mari Smiley does a good job of working his way down the line of scrimmage to make that tackle right there for South Alabama on that 2nd down play. And then they just got him with the hard count. Free play right here for Hudson.
And Hudson trying to get it to his receiver, Malcolm Gilley. It's incomplete, but I think South Alabama had jumped offside, and it is offside South Alabama. Coastal gets another shot.
Offside.
That's the 2nd time
Defense.
that Hudson's been able to do that against South.
5-yard penalty.
Not enough to give him the 1st down, but enough to give him a free play. But that hard count sends him across the line of scrimmage. He knows he has a free play here. He's going deep.
And so now you go from a 3rd and 10 to a 3rd and 5. Got to get just across the 41-yard line to extend this drive. Hudson to a streaking wide receiver. The catch is made. One man to beat. Spins and gets across the 40-yard line. Bryson Graves on a little quick slant in, and then had all sorts of green turf in front of him.
Yeah, South Alabama lucky to get him down after he spun out of the 2nd tackle there.
Now Hudson again will just overthrow his receiver Graves on purpose.
Yeah, but they're going to be up roughing the passer here against South Alabama as Hudson rolls out. It's a little RPO. He bails out to throw that one over his receiver's head, and he gets leveled.
Officials discussing it right at the jag head at the 50-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense with targeting. Previous play is under video review.
Wow, that's
Foul is on number 32.
That is a big foul, and it's on Blaine Myrick, who is the Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year in the preseason, and now they're going to look at him for targeting as well. And Myrick, who went out with a concussion protocol against Tulane, didn't get a chance to play in the game at Auburn last week, and that's tough because Myrick is a kid from Fairhope, Alabama, which is about 30 minutes away from Mobile, so still a local kid. Had to miss that game. Let's look at all these angles here.
Yeah, I don't see targeting right there. I mean, he looks like he comes up underneath him with his shoulder right into his chest. And I really don't even see roughing the passer. But, I mean, it's a bang-bang play. He gets rid of the ball. Myrick hits him, but it doesn't look malicious to me the way. I mean, he was already coming towards him.
The ruling of targeting is overturned. There is a foul for roughing the passer. 1st down.
Boy, I wish you could take both of them away.
Yeah, I
don't
got to
see
agree
it.
with you there. I didn't see the targeting, but you know, you had Hudson, who was out of the pocket and could have easily run there.
Yeah.
Wasn't malicious, but it is a 15-yard penalty. And we talked earlier about how South Alabama has avoided the major penalties. Not so tonight, as they've had some costly ones. That's the 7th penalty on South tonight.
Yeah, only averaging, what, 20.5 yards, 20.6 coming into the game, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that has not been the case this evening.
So 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. There's Simpkins with another hole. Simpkins gunning for the pylon, and he'll get there. Javen Simpkins, 24 yards and the touchdown. And it's a double-digit lead for Coastal Carolina.
Boy, for an offense that's been anemic the first 3 games, they have had a coming-out party tonight. They're taking care of the ball. They're running the ball hard and taking advantage of just miscues by South Alabama, whether it be on the kicking game or penalties that have cost them. And Coastal Carolina kind of clicking on all cylinders, especially here in the second half.
Simpkins 9 carries for over 100 yards. Extra point is perfect. And we've got a 28-17 Coastal Carolina lead. Exactly 10 minutes to go here in the ball game. South has a lot of work to do. Jags trail by 11. Well, what a drive by Coastal Carolina. He had the big pass on 3rd down to Bryson Graves, who spins his way and gets a big 1st down. And then a couple plays later, Blaine Myrick levels the quarterback Hudson. They call a roughing the passer penalty. And then you give it up to the running back. Javen Simpkins, 24 yards and the touch. A 6-play, 80-yard drive. Took 2 minutes, 29 seconds off the clock and gives Coastal Carolina a big lead, 28-17, 10 minutes to go. South Alabama not out of it yet by any stretch, but boy, that offense has got to get going. This was a 14-7 South Alabama lead at halftime.
Yeah, I think back to Tulane game, right? South came out and jumped on 14-0, and then they go back, and the last 5 minutes of that game, South was able to put up 14 points to close that gap. They were a 2-point conversion away from tying that game up late. So let's see if they have that same kind of input here in this last 10 minutes of this game as they start this drive out at the 25-yard line. And we talk about, I mean, if you look at the total yards, I mean, South still has 347 yards of total offense. It's been the miscues that have really, I mean, that's where it's the one turnover, it's the difference, and then, you know, the miscues in the kicking game that's really kind of put South behind the 8 ball so far tonight.
And 347 to 285 is the total yardage difference in favor of South Alabama. Got 205 yards on the ground, and they'll add to it here as they roll the quick pitch to the left side. There's Keenan Phillips again. Boy, he's gotten some work tonight. That's 13 carries, and now Phillips over 100 yards. With a gain of 8, brings up a 2nd down and 2.
And Bruce just rides him out of bounds there. But Phillips is running the ball hard tonight for South Alabama, taking advantage of getting those opportunities.
Phillips out, Bullock in. It'll be Davenport going to the near side. Catch is made by Devin Boyson. 1st down.
Well, they really took advantage of that cushion right there. I mean, they had the defenders 10 yards behind Boyson right there as he's just running an out route.
And now Coastal is taking advantage of the ability to substitute here, and that'll help run some time off the clock as well. Approaching 9 minutes to go in the 4th. Chanticleers with a 28-17 lead in Mobile. And now a free play for South. They'll throw to Devin Boyson, and just too far beyond his reach. It'll be offside on Coastal, but you're just a little more patient.
Offside. Defense, number 18. 5-yard penalty. Replay.
Yeah, there was no rush right there. I'm with you. I would love to see Davenport kind of hold that one for a second, let him clear, and then just see.
Just lay one up there and see what happens.
Let's play jump ball at the goal line, see if you can get a pass interference or something out of it, or Boyson's been known to come down with one.
But you'll take the 5-yard penalty, so 1st and 5 at the Coastal 45-yard line. There's Kentrell. Good hole off the left side. Trying to get a stiff arm. He's got the 1st down, but again, we see yet another great tackle in space. Dre Pinckney is the guy that brought him down, and you've got to give Jeremiah Johnson, the defensive coordinator for Coastal Carolina, a lot of credit. Comes from Louisiana Tech, and you got a first-year offensive coordinator and a first-year defensive coordinator for Coastal Carolina. But the difference is on defense, Coach Johnson took most of his staff from Louisiana Tech, so there was some continuity when he came over to Coastal Carolina, and it's showing tonight.
What I love that they do is they wrap up. They're not a team that comes up, tries to knock you off your feet and not wrap up, and they do a really good job of making a sure tackle.
Meantime, Bullock gashes for a run of 11 yards. That's the 13th carry for Kentrell, who's now approaching 75 yards of rushing tonight. Bullock is out, and here comes another running back for South Alabama. They'll go to P.J. Martin. And as this game wears on, you're going to have 3 running backs who are relatively fresh. But time starting to work against South Alabama just a bit. Bishop, left side. P.J. Martin out of the backfield makes the catch. Positive yards, and it's second down.
Yeah, when you look at Kentrell Bullock, comes in tonight with 299 yards, so one shy of averaging 100 yards per game. But I'm with you, man. It's got to be, you're playing defense and you're playing hard all night, and you look up and it's Bullock, Martin, Phillips. You're like, slow down, you know. Send somebody in that's tired, and there's a offensive line goes and
the snap never got there.
Yeah, but let's see what this is where they call it on the quarterback, right? Which doesn't make sense to me. Let's see.
Illegal snap, offense, 69. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Kenton Gerardo is the right guard typically, but with Malachi Preciado out still with an injury. He just never got a handle on the football and never got a chance to snap it.
So technically not an illegal snap because he never snapped it.
So a 5-yard penalty will make it second down and 12. Bishop has a lot of pressure. He'll escape momentarily. He takes a hit at about the 30-yard line as Shane Bruce knocks him out of bounds. Minimal gain, maybe back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be third down.
Well, you see that speed right there, Bruce, side to side, because it looked like for a second once Davenport kind of escaped everybody, if he could just get to the sideline and turn up, he looked like he may have had some room, and all of a sudden, man, Bruce just closes in quick on him to force him out of bounds.
So they'll say no gain here, third down and 12. Jags have to get to the 16-yard line. Better protection this time across the middle. The catch is not made, as it was gunned in there trying to get it to Voisin. Pass goes incomplete for Davenport. That's his 9th incompletion of the day. And South Alabama will send in the field goal unit trying to get it to a 1-score game here.
It looked like he just led Voisin a little too much here. He tried to go up. A lot of traffic right there that Voisin's in as well, trying to make that catch.
This will be a 47-yard attempt for Hamilton DeBoyan. From the left hash mark. He's 1 for 2 field goals tonight. Push the last one wide right. This one plenty of distance. And this one right through the uprights. So DeBoyan, his second field goal makes it a 1-score game, 28-20. It'll be Coastal Carolina football when we get back. 6:32 to go. Shots by 8. A couple of Chanticleer fans making their way down here from Conway, South Carolina, right near Myrtle Beach. What is a Chanticleer? Well, it originated from the Canterbury Tales, which you've read, Brian Gennard, several times, I'm sure.
In the yellow book, in the Cliff Notes.
It's the rooster who dominates the barnyard. Cunning, witty, and fierce. Came to Coastal Carolina when the university was a member of the South Carolina school system. And you see Chauncey, the Chanticleer, came in the 60s. And you got one of the unique names in college athletics in the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And they've got a 28-20 lead, and the football was 6.5 to play here in Mobile. And Tyad Hudson will come back on. And boy, what a job he has done tonight. Statistically, okay, 13 of 24, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. But you got to think about his story. Hudson came in against Charleston Southern in game 2. Hasn't relinquished the job since. This was a 3-person job up for grabs in the fall practices. Emmett Brown got hurt in fall practice. And Coach Beck was trying to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback. He actually recruited Tad Hudson at North Carolina State. So he knew what he was getting in Hudson, and he said Hudson just needs time. He needs that confidence to start building, because Coastal comes in the worst scoring offense in the country at just 6.7 points a game. And right now they got 28 and just a little north of 6 minutes from getting a victory here.
And it's one of those things, I mean, when we talked to Coach this week, again, you said it, he needs time. And a lot of time in college, you don't have that because there's so much pressure and so much noise around you. Coach Beck said, hey, this is my man. I'm sticking with him. And we're just a play or two away of things kind of clicking for us and going our way. And so far tonight, they have done everything they've wanted to do.
Simpkins, a gain of maybe 1 up to the 29-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 6. And this is a big opportunity for both of these programs. If Coastal Carolina gets the first down, they got a chance to milk the clock for a little while longer. Meantime, South Alabama desperately needing a stop here. 3rd down conversions tonight. Coastal is 4 of 9.
South needs to watch that hard count. Hudson's gone to it a couple of times and been able to get them to jump.
3rd down with pressure coming and flags flying.
Yeah, that's going to be a procedure call. They saw the pressure coming. Boy, South was sitting the house, and
False start.
as soon as those linebackers got that run forward, looked like McDonald came out of his stance, going ahead to kind of get ready.
And so now, instead of a 3rd down and 6, you've got 3rd down and 11. Got to get to the 35-yard line to move the chains. 5 minutes, 4 seconds to play with. Bryson Graves has been the big target tonight for Coastal. Let's see if they go to him again. 3rd down. Only 3 down linemen. Here comes a 4th out of the linebacker spot. Hudson has time, delivers behind the intended receiver, incomplete. He had him open. That was Jamison Tucker was the intended receiver. He had found a little cushion in that South Alabama zone defense, but the throw was behind him, and it's 4th down, and that's a big stop for South Alabama.
Yeah, Tucker's just running a deep in route. He does. He gets behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties. He comes free right around midfield, but Hudson just unable to hit him as he crossing across the middle, and he had to reach back. It would have been a heck of a catch if Hudson was able to make it.
This punt should be fielded by Devin Voice, and he fumbles it, goes back on it. He was trying to decide whether to call the fair catch or not. He kind of put his right arm up briefly up toward his shoulder and then brought it back and trying to make a move before he secured the football. He's able to fall right back on it, but it'll be South Alabama football at their own 28-yard line. 1st and 10, Jags down by 8. Now you look at the 4:37 to play in this one. You still got the 2-minute timeout. Each team has their full complement of timeouts, so a long way to go in this one, partner.
Yeah, a lot of football to be played. I mean, like we said, against Tulane, 2 scores in the last 5 minutes of that game for South Alabama. See what they draw up here.
Phillips is the running back. He's got 104 yards rushing. It'll be Bishop throwing well behind the intended receiver. As that was Anthony Eager, who had gone about 5 yards beyond the sticks. It looked like Bishop thought he was going to cut that route off early.
Like he thought he was going to run about a 10-yard out, and he ran a 15-yard out, and he kind of split the difference.
So it's an incompletion for Davenport, now 19 of 30. Check that, 19 of 29, 162 yards and 1 interception for Bishop. He'll throw again here, under some pressure. Escapes one man, does not escape another. That's great pressure by Coastal Carolina defensively. That's Trey Brown, the linebacker from Florida. Redshirt junior, comes in tonight with 11 tackles. He had 7 tackles in one TFL in the loss to East Carolina. Gets a big one right there, pushes South Alabama back, makes it 3rd and 15.
Boy, that was a huge tackle as well. I mean, looked like for a second Davenport may kind of squirt free, but Trey Brown grabbed a hold of that jersey and held on for dear life.
So under 4 minutes to play, 3rd and 15. Bishop intercepted. Throws right to the defender. Zamarian Gordon is the guy that comes up with it. And Gordon was just sitting there waiting on it. His first interception of the season, the second thrown tonight by Bishop Davenport. And Coastal Carolina with another turnover. He was trying to get it to Voisin, but you had Zamarian Gordon
Ruling
just sitting
field,
there.
Interception. First down, Coastal Carolina.
Gordon, a transfer from Southern Cal, had some decent playing time there in 2 seasons with the USC Trojans. He's a California native. 36 tackles last year for Gordon. And now gets the INT. And Coastal Carolina 27 yards away from putting this one away. They'll keep it on the ground. It's to about the 23-yard line.
South going to start using their timeouts, see if they can conserve some
Timeout.
of this.
Timeout, South Alabama.
Right here.
First charge timeout. 30 seconds in length.
But here's the issue for South Alabama, and I'm quite sure Tim Beck is thinking about this on his sideline, is protect the football, put it through the uprights with a field goal, and now you're looking at an 11-point game with not a lot of time left. So the Jags not only have to get a stop, they've got to keep points off the board. Otherwise, it may be insurmountable.
Yeah, if you're back, you'd love to have 6, but you'd be really satisfied with 3, and South coming out of here with no timeouts left. And then, like you said, two-score game. And going back to that pass, though, it just looked like Davenport was just locked on Voisin the whole time, and as he's coming across the middle, he never sees the defender. Gordon just kind of from that cornerback position had just rolled back right into the throwing lane.
Nicely as the running back. You would imagine that Coastal's going to continue to keep it on the ground here, make South Alabama use all their timeouts. 3 minutes, 34 seconds to play. It's 2nd down and 6. Hudson out of the shotgun will give it to Nicely. Nicely pops it to the outside, trying to get to the corner, and he gets close to the first down.
Well, the only thing positive for South out of that play was, or 2 things. I guess he didn't get the first down, and he ran out of bounds to stop the clock for you, so you don't have to burn a timeout, but it does bring up 3rd and 1.
But the clock still runs,
well, yeah,
though.
because it's not under 2 minutes.
Yeah, it stopped momentarily, but now you got 3rd down and 1 at the 18-yard line. Play clock at 20, so they can burn this clock under 3 minutes. They're at the 18-yard line. Got to get to the 17. Nicely, once again, is the running back. They're going to put it in the air. That is interesting. Thrown into the ground, incomplete. Wow. That does South Alabama a favor because it stops the clock. And they don't have to use a timeout, but you still have your field goal kicker, and that's got to be an intentional grounding there, too.
Grounding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offense, number 12. Loss of down, spot of foul. Be 4th down.
So now, not only does that stop the clock, that makes this field goal a whole lot more difficult for Kiana Fructe. It'll be a 44-yard attempt from the far hash. Now, Fructe is 2 for 2 in field goals this year, but both of them have been less than 30 yards. This will be a 44-yard attempt. Trying to make it a 31-20 game. It is on the way. The accuracy is there. The distance is there as well. The 44-yard field goal is good. And Coastal Carolina now on top by 11 with 2 minutes, 48 seconds to go. Well, that's a pressure kick by the big man, a Fructe from California.
Fructe fired up right there. Just a nice kick by that young man. You kind of thought for a second the scenario was lining up to be bad for Coastal when they go for the pass instead of the run right there and keep the clock running, and then they get the intentional grounding. So you're kind of thinking, all right, the momentum's kind of shifted a little bit, but Ifrite comes in and just drills it right between the uprights. Didn't have too much to spare, but doesn't matter how far it goes through as long as it goes through, right?
Goes through the uprights. It's all you need. And so it's 31-20. Coastal Carolina on the verge of getting a big win here in Mobile. And if so, it would be their third straight win over South Alabama. First time these two teams met, it was back at Ladd Peoples Stadium when South Alabama used to play at the city-owned stadium. And the Jags jumped out to an early lead and then hung on to beat Coastal. But these two teams have only played one time in Conway. Jags got the loss there. Coastal came back and got a win the next year, and now 2 minutes and 48 seconds from getting their third straight. 31-20. Jags will have the football back. And this one will be fielded about 3 yards deep, and the Jags will return it. And they won't return it far. It's good kick coverage by Coastal Carolina, and South Alabama will have it at the 16-yard line. It's Bishop Davenport. 19 of 30, 152 yards, but that big stat down there at the bottom, 2 interceptions. Coastal Carolina has protected the football all game long. No turnovers for the Chanticleers. 2 picks from Bishop Davenport.
And it's 2 picks that he seems like he's been locked in on voicing, and they've just kind of been playing center field, watching his eyes, and able to kind of jump those routes. We'll see what they dial up here.
31-20. Jags need some help in a hurry, and the ball's knocked loose from behind, picked up, a scoop, a score for Trey Brown and Coastal Carolina. And the Chanticleers have come in and silenced
on the field.
The crowd
is a fumble.
South Alabama.
Return for a touchdown.
As all sorts of pressure from behind, Bishop Davenport never saw him. Trey Brown saw the ball squirting along the turf, picks it up, returns it the other way.
Yeah, we saw Trey Brown with a big tackle earlier. It looked like almost could be a holding call right there, but
yeah, I was surprised.
Ryans comes in there.
Noah Arenze is the guy that knocked it loose. But you're right, though. If that hadn't happened, I don't know how they didn't call holding on South Alabama.
Yeah.
But Arenze able to knock it loose. Brown will return it. That's 3 turnovers by South Alabama. They had potentially a 4th. First touchdown was recovered offensively by South.
The turnover skulls. Did you see that on the poll right there?
They've got 3 big ones.
Yeah.
As Ifrite with the extra point makes it 38-20.
You think that's from Canterbury Tales as well?
Well, you read it. You're the one that read it like 4 times.
I don't remember that part in the Cliff Notes.
Talk to the young kids about Cliff Notes today. They have no idea what you're talking about.
They just AI did it for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
They have AI.
Who's Cliff and why was he making all these notes, right?
Well, what a performance by Coastal Carolina. You didn't play well against Virginia. In your one win against Charleston Southern, you only won 13-0. You did make a quarterback change in that ball game. But then last week, very disappointing for Tim Beck when they took on East Carolina, and the Pirates, it was a 10-0 ball game at halftime, but then East Carolina opened it up, especially in the 4th, for a 38-0 victory. And now they're going to come into Mobile at least a 2-touchdown underdog. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to those betting lines, but I know it was double digits. Double-digit underdog, and they're going to win by double digits.
But, you know, you and I talked to a lot of coaches during the season and things like that. But Coach Beck was really honest with the way he felt when we talked to him. I think it was Tuesday, and said that, you know, he really felt like they were just on the cusp, but they could clean up a couple of things that he liked this squad, liked what they were doing, liked their work ethic, and some of the leadership he was getting from Bruce and some other folks on this team. And even, you know, we talked about Shane Bruce and that leadership from that linebacker position. And he said it last week in his press conference. So what? You know, what's next? What do we do now? And he said that their goal was to win a Sun Belt championship. It started tonight in Mobile, and that's what they were focused on. They were trying to put those other 3 games in their rearview mirror and move forward. And tonight they have done exactly that.
Well, I think the key there is that turnover column.
Yeah.
0 turnovers. And that's been the thing that has been plaguing Coastal Carolina all season long, as Davenport forced out of bounds after about a 3-yard gain, and there are flags in the backfield that
yeah, you're
typically
gonna get that
indicates
holding you didn't get on the last play on this play right there for South Alabama. But you know, I mean, it's so funny.
Offense, number 79, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Played for
Jordan Davis for that one.
Yeah, I played for a coach in high school, and one of the things that I always remembered is Coach Gerald Gann of Homewood High School up in Birmingham. He'd come in and he'd open his wallet. He'd take out what he called his game maxims, and he'd read them to us every last thing before we walked in the locker room. But the one that always sticks out is the team that makes the fewest mistakes most of the time wins the game, and that's really kind of been the case here tonight.
Well, and Bishop Davenport under pressure, and he is leveled in the back of the end zone, as he had great pressure coming from Zeke Campbell. Incomplete pass, bring up a 2nd down and 20.
I mean, because you look down the stat board. I mean, you know, South Alabama total yards 385 to 298, 21 first downs compared to 15. They've got 10 minutes more, well, 13 minutes more of possession, but those 3 turnovers stick out like a sore thumb for you.
I can tell you, Major Applewhite's post-game press conference will be largely talking about South Alabama beating South Alabama. Not to take anything away from Coastal by any stretch, because they've gotten the job done, as Brendan Jenkins gets the catch on the long gain, and that'll take us to our 2-minute timeout. The Jags will have it at their own 45-yard line, but a scoop and score by Coastal Carolina has all but put this thing out of reach. The shot to clears on top 38-20 with 2 minutes to play. Coastal Carolina will continue the Sun Belt Conference road. They'll play at Old Dominion next week, then host ULM. That's their other Western Division opponent for Coastal Carolina. But they're going to start off 1-0, and that's a pretty impressive win coming into Mobile, a double-digit underdog, and they're going to most likely walk away with a double-digit win. 38-20 is the score right now. Davenport flares it out to the right side, incomplete. Trying to get it to P.J. Martin. It's incomplete, 2nd down, and Major Applewhite. Boy, it doesn't get any easier for him, does it? At North Texas next week in Denton. North Texas, by the way, won in overtime today against Army, so they are 4-0 on the year. Then it's conference play the rest of the way at Troy, the battle for the belt. Troy got a win over Buffalo today, so the Trojans in the win column again. But that North Texas offense, by the way, averaging, I think, over 40 points a game. That's going to be a tall task for this South Alabama offense and defense, for that matter. The offense is going to have to try to keep pace while the defense tries to hold them down. Miller McCrumbie gets the catch. Gain of 4 brings up 3rd and 6 at the 49-yard line. Clock continuing to go. Jags with 2 timeouts left. Davenport, right side. Catch is made, and what another tackle in space. Zeke Campbell. Check that, that's McDowell. Savon McDowell was the guy that was in there. There was, again, just in space, they don't miss.
They don't at all. And again, they lock up. I mean, that's the biggest difference to me that I've watched them and other teams that we've seen. Guys want to come up and try to make that big hit and get the ooh and ah, but you get the ooh and ah when you make the big hit and you wrap up and bring them right down, and that's exactly what Coastal's been able to do, but wide open in the middle. And I don't think he got it.
Let's see, they're going to say incomplete, as Anthony Eager was the intended receiver, went down to the turf to try and make up.
Is an incomplete pass. First down.
To try and make the catch, couldn't do it, and that will do it, as Anthony Eager will trot off the field. Tim Beck got to be very happy with what his team came in and did tonight, because it couldn't have been a comfortable week in Conway, South Carolina, after you lose 38-0 to East Carolina and didn't look good in the ball game at all, and had a team that was the worst scoring offense in the country, had committed the most turnovers in the country, and boy, they cleaned up every bit of it tonight.
They got one of the other things that's helped, Pat, you get on the road.
Yeah.
You get away from the noise, right? And you get to get on the road. You get to get with your teammates, and it's a time for, for a little bit of bonding. Guys get to spend some time together, and you get to have some conversations with your team about, hey, what do we need to do to take ownership of this away from the noise of on campus and other folks in your ears and things like that. I think that this road trip probably came at a really good time for Coach Beck and his crew, and it's one of the things that Bruce talked about in his conference last week. Is they asked him, does it help going on the road? He's like, man, I love playing away games. I love getting away and getting to just spend time with the guys as things kind of getting a little chippy.
Yeah, and they'll try to separate everybody down underneath, and that'll do it as the teams will converge, shake hands, and boy, that's a big win for Coastal Carolina as the two coaches will meet, Major Applewhite and Tim Beck, as Coastal's now won 3 of their last 4 Sun Belt Conference openers, and as we said, their 3rd straight win over South Alabama. And of all the guys for Coastal Carolina, you've got to look at number 12, Tad Hudson, and what he did tonight. The stats won't wow you, but he got confidence. He made plays when he needed to make plays, and scored 1 rushing touchdown, threw for 2 more.
Yeah, that ball that he threw in the end zone, just laid up there and let his receiver go get it, I thought was just a perfect throw. And then the rushing touchdown, he was going to be met right around the 2-3 yard line, and you could see the determination in that young man's face, and as he left his feet around the 2 to get into the end zone, managed the game very well for them, but most importantly, he took care of the ball.
So South Alabama drops to 1-3 on the year, 0-1 in conference play. How about Coastal Carolina, 2-2 overall? They start the Sun Belt Conference schedule with a win. They're 1-0 in the Sun Belt. Jags will go to North Texas. It'll be Coastal at Old Dominion next week. We thank you for watching. So for Brian Gennard, I'm Pat Greenwood saying so long from Mobile, Alabama, where the final score, Coastal Carolina 38, South Alabama 20. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.